By the rivers of Babylon, we found our brothers here. A higher gather us. Whoa. High. Ooh. A highest gather in Israel. Oh. Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. Levi, the Haitians, yeah. Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali. Go to the regular page on Blog Talk so I can get the number. No, the regular page. I'm clicking to the regular page on Blog Talk. I'll show you. A highest gathering Israel. I got it. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church. I hope you all are doing well. All praises be the Most High. Ahaya, Ba Hashem Yeshaya, Wa Rawak. How are you this evening? Hope you all are doing well. Thank you for joining us this weekend. We're jumping right in with a very serious, and I wouldn't say controversial topic, a well-needed topic this evening. And I'm sure it will stimulate a lot of conversation and understanding this evening when it comes to family and I would say the gender operations within the earth, masculine and feminine, right? Last week we went into how to undo the curse of the effeminate man, how to undo this, how we've been systematically emasculated as men, how we can actually overcome this perpetual systematic curse. This week we have a different topic this evening. And I'm sure everyone and their mama, like my man Jesse Lee Peterson eloquently states, will have an opinion on this particular show. And before I go in, I would just like to make a disclaimer, okay, that going into this show, I'm not speaking of any brother or sister personally, okay? We're going to be speaking in generalizations today, but bringing resolve according to the Bible. But speaking to real life experiences, including I will be speaking to real life experiences of what I have experienced growing up. Okay. But as far as any person that I'm thinking about individually, no, I never go into a show with one person in mind or an individual in mind. Why? I notice that some of these topics hit home personally sometimes. It's exactly. And it's not me calling someone out or trying to bring forth some, some correction, through a topic to one person. But, hey, if it's constructive criticism that come through for correction, I would advise, according to the Most High in the Bible, to accept it. All right? But no, we're not speaking to anyone personal tonight. I have no idea why people call this phone in the midst of the broadcast every week at 7 p.m., knowing that I'm on the broadcast every week. Lord help me. But anyway, the topic of discussion this evening, listen to this clearly. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. And I'm going to go into this topic in every area possible this evening. But before I go in, let me ask Elder Lawya, you with me? Elder Lawya, you with me? It's this person just calling me every other second in the midst of a broadcast. Lord, have mercy on me. Lawya,
yes, sir. I'm here with you. I'm here.
Okay, was your phone on mute? I said it like 3 times. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. I was on mute.
Okay. If you don't hear me, if I say it twice, I mean I can't hear you, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to put you on hold and bring you right back in a moment. Usually this stream is usually an hour and a half on Blog Talk, but we're going to go for about two and a half hours, probably 30 minutes overtime. If it falls off on Blog Talk, you can actually come in with us later. Those on Blog Talk can actually follow us on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Let me get the phone number real quick. You have the phone number, Elder Lawya. They can call in.
Let me pull it up here.
Are you on speaker? If so, please use a headphone, please. (515-605-9327) is the number. 515-605-9327. Okay. One moment. 515-605-9327. All right. Jumping right in. Again, all praises be the Most High, Bashem Yeshaya, Rawchaa. I'm Elder Rawchaa, live with our weekly broadcast. We're only going to go on for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours max this evening. Mm-hmm. And we're going to jump right in. All right. And again, we're not talking about anyone personally. We're trying to bring resolve to issues within the world. Okay. I didn't have to make a disclaimer last week, but anyway. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. A question was asked a few weeks ago in our show. Mm-hmm. How do you know when it's over? Or how do we know when it's over? Well, and this particular answer wasn't given last week, brothers and sisters. When women become men. That answer wasn't given a couple of weeks ago. How do we know that we're all living in the end times and Christ will soon come? When women become men. Brothers and sisters, the earth is under a curse, and I don't think I have to tell you all that. We're living in a world without the examples of loving, caring, feminine women. And it's a curse. But the question is, where did it come from? When did it begin? How did this curse begin? And how can we fix it? How do we undo this curse of the masculine woman? Now, are we speaking about all women? Of course not. But you're going to find, brothers and sisters, that in the most soft of women today, a lot of women don't realize that they're carrying masculine attributes. They don't understand, they don't realize that they've been trained, being thrust upon them, no matter who fault it is or who you want to blame, or whether in fact it was a default of a defense mechanism, or hey, it could have been just, I grew up in poverty, whatever the case is, and I took on a tough exterior. A lot of women would rather be feminine, I would suppose, but society moved them in a different direction to have to operate in this earth as men. Now, How do we undo this cursing? You know what? It's an open discussion. I have Elder Gabar here. I have Elder Lawya with me. We have husbands, wives. You can all chime in and call in the number. I have Josh adjacent to me as well as Shapat. If y'all like to chime in, chime in. We're going to have this discussion this evening. Mm-hmm. It's a curse on every level, right? And it first starts with the spirit of feminism. And this spirit of feminism out there has an origin, and I'm going to talk about that also. But brothers and sisters, this spirit of feminism has made masculinity under the same euphemisms, or you would call terms, as terrorism. Mm-hmm. It's almost, you're deemed a terrorist if you're being who you were naturally born to be, which is male or masculine. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. Now, it's bad if men are masculine, but it's okay if women carry masculine traits and use aggression and masculinity, if there's any such thing as that. Masculine traits against the opposite sex. What's wrong with that? We're going to find, brothers and sisters, everything I'm mentioning this evening was written in the Bible. It's a clear sign of the time, and it's exactly what was going on during the time before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, what you might not know, brothers and sisters, is that there's a term or a word for this particular behavior within society. On your screen, matter of fact, I'll read it off of my screen here. On my screen, it says here, a matriarchy. What's a matriarchy, you might ask? Genococracy.
Kind of cocracy.
I didn't make the word. That word's interesting in itself. And matriarch. Matriarchy is a social system in which females, most notably in mammals, now we're supposed to be people now, right? They done denigrated us to animal level now. Okay? I'm a man, not a mammal, okay? Most notably in mammals, hold the primary power positions in roles of political leadership, moral authority, social privilege, and control of property at the specific exclusion of males. So it's not just you grandizing yourself as a female and having wealth or whatever, or acquiring success for yourself as the objective. The objective under a matriarchy, I'm doing it in spite of men and purposely excluding them to empower a woman's femininity over the male. At least at a large degree. Now, this sounds like terrorism to me. A social system which females, most notably in mammals, hold the primary power positions in roles of political leadership, moral authority, social privilege, and control of property at the specific exclusion of males. Right? An attack on males is a matriarchic system where anything male is deemed aggressive. So if you raise your voice because you're upset, oh my God, he's raising his voice. Mm-hmm. Or you say something someone don't like and their response is, are you threatening me? Mm-hmm. Or if you get next to someone, sit next to someone, which people normally do like in closed scenarios, like on buses or trains. I don't know. I feel like I've been raped. What's going on in this system? And I'm going to show you how evil matriarchy is, brothers and sisters. It's so evil that the feminine homosexuals are using it. You had a thing that came out yesterday where the guy from Power, Smollett, what his name? Jesse. I guess some guys on the news will call him Juicy, but his name is Jussie Smollett, the one that plays the gay character in the movie. I mean, in the series. I don't even look at that crap. I've seen a few episodes and it grossed me out at this point. What's the name of that thing on Fox 29? Empire. Yeah. He comes out with the other gay guy and says that he was racially profiled and noosed by some white racist 2:30 in the morning in Chicago. So he's even using the cover of racism and him being a feminine man to be protected by the quote unquote white man as a cover for him hanging out somewhere, getting noosed 2:30 and it being found out in Chicago. Everyone have rights and can scream bloody murder except men. What's wrong with that type of system, folks? You know what's wrong with it? The Most High is a man. Okay? The Christ, the Savior, is a man. Okay? All the men of the Old Testament, the prophets, the teachers. Okay? Righteousness came to a man to get delivered throughout the whole earth. Moses. Right? So we have to bring some balance to this, to undo this curse against masculinity. It's a curse. And it's so deeply inbred that our people within the system don't even realize how they are or were affected by this. I'm just waiting for a few more people to come in. We're at 8:15. Usually I wait till we're about 900 to really get into the meat of it. But I'd like to talk about this evening. Okay? Listen to this. Right? A social system in which females, most notably mammals, hold the primary power positions in roles of political leadership, moral authority, social privilege, and control of property at the specific exclusion of males. What's this thing in the world that plays males against females? Where did that come from? When in the beginning, the Most High made man, pulled woman. I know a lot of you don't know this, but women came from man. Woman means from man. She was created to be a helpmeet to her husband so that they can grow together and build a legacy under family. That's the core purpose of existence, folks. No one has succeeded in anything in life if we've failed in family. They make you think these little accolades that's out there makes one a success, whether or not he or she can bounce a basketball, or he or she become a great singer, or whatever the case is. No. Those are just occupations. Let's talk about this real quick. Okay, they just came in. Let me touch on it again. For those who've just come in. And if you'd like to call in and talk on this, 515-605-9327. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church. Okay? where is the yeah, I'm looking for the blog talk. Where is it? 1 second, folks. Oh, here it is. I have it here. I have it. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. A question was asked a few weeks ago, how do you know when it's over? And the answer wasn't given. And one answer that wasn't given is when women become men. I just talked about what? A matriarchy, where a system of set up women, empower women to be over men. And women relish in that power over men for whatever reason. If you want to talk about it and give your understanding on why it's so, I'm more than happy to hear what you would have to say. But we're going to talk about those levels of masculine women, right? In this system, it didn't start with us as a people, which means when we came to America or the shores of America or to these other countries or whatever, we were more so taken from a traditional family society. You didn't hear too much about what you would call poor slave homosexuals and lesbians, like we see today. Right? That was almost unheard of unless Massa, you had a plantation where Massa was a freak or dealing with some evil and began to do things with the young men and women or whatever the case is. But in number, the majority of the slaves that were brought to the Western world, brothers and sisters, were traditional people who desired the opposite, quote unquote, sex. Morally sound people who understood and believed in family. Now, this is what you probably didn't know. What we see today, the curse of the masculine woman in our society, started, I'm going to drop it on you. It started in America's, quote unquote, on a, what you would call political level with white women. Feminism wasn't made for us. None of us. When I see a black feminist or what you would call a minority feminist, what are we seeing? We're seeing a proxy for the systematic controllers. Listen to me again. When we take on feminism, I mean our sisters, you are a proxy for the feminists who have always stepped on you. And I'm going to go into that matriarchy. How do we undo the curse of the masculine woman? We first start with what? Identifying the problem exists. That's number one. And then next, we give a name to what most people don't understand is a systematic word in society that's utilized. Matriarchy, because a lot of women don't even know what that is. You don't know that you are part of a matriarchy. So we give a word or a title to what's going on in this system. And then we give you the origin of when it became passé or normal within our society. Right? What do we have here on your screen? On your screen, what we have here, brothers and sisters, follow me here, is a campaign that came through, quote unquote, white Jews. A campaign that was called Torches of Freedom. Okay, follow me here. torches of freedom that started in the early 1900s, right? At a time where we had no rights. There was a guy by the name of Edward Bernays, a Jewish guy, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who understood the powers of actually doing what? Of going into the senses and playing on man and women desires so that it can be used by the corporate Borgs at that time to have people buy things they didn't want. Playing on the senses that they found that came through the sin of Adam and Eve. Let me show you what a lot of you don't even know about this torches of freedom, brothers and sisters. I'm going to break it down for you. And hit that like button. I see you all coming in. Hit that like button. Let me drop this torches of freedom on you. There was a large number at this time in the early 1900s. This is 1929 when this systematic campaign began through media and the Jewish powers. 99.9% of the smokers at this time were white men. 1929. So the cigarette or the tobacco farmers came to Edward Bernays and asked, how can we get more people to buy our product? He says we can use the science tactics of advertising that I've learned from my uncle, Sigmund Freud, the power of suggestion. He says, how many people do you want to smoke cigarettes? They said, what? Tobacco? We want everyone to smoke cigarettes. If only 50% of the population are 99% of the consumers, we must focus on these women who are doing what? Home, taking care of the family, cooking, backing her husband. We need to make these women and have them desire the tobacco. So what did they do? Listen to this. A lot of you didn't even know these terms existed. Torches of freedom was a phrase used to encourage women smoking by exploiting women's aspirations for a better life during the women's liberation movement. Now, mind you, brothers and sisters, the black women weren't included in this movement. There was no such thing as black woman liberation or poor Chinese women liberation or any other nation liberation at this time. This was a white movement, a European movement. Mm-hmm. In the United States, cigarettes were described as symbols of emancipation and equality with men. So instead of it being a cigarette, they said, you know what? There's a big march coming up in New York soon. We're going to pay a bunch of white women who were probably pagans to march smoking cigarettes so that all can see that it's a sign of liberation and equality to men. Right? Look at this. Listen to this. Cigarettes were described as symbols of emancipation and equality to men. Now, equality to men, let me highlight that. Do you see the problem with that? Mm-hmm. Men are 100% men and women are 100% women. There's a problem with this phrase in itself. There's no way a man can be equal to a woman because he's not a woman. Mm-hmm. A woman is a woman. That's her equal. Are you following me? The term was first used by psychoanalyst A.A. Brill, another Jew, right here, when describing the natural desire for women to smoke, and was used by Edward Bernays, another Jew, to encourage women to smoke in public despite social taboos. Why? Because at this time, women had class, and they were looking to break the class of women in an effort to begin to destroy family. It had nothing to do with cigarettes. It had everything to do with destroying the class and virtue of women.
Mm-hmm. Deep.
Now, you see that?
Yeah, it's deep. Yeah.
Because if you cared about women, the last thing you would do is try to push cigarettes on them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about equality at all. It was about having a woman compromise her virtue, her greatest asset. Her femininity is a woman's power. And they stole that from women with these brainwashed tactics, this sorcery, these campaigns. Bernays hired women. These weren't real women actually smoking cigarettes. It was a ploy. Hired women to march while smoking their torches of freedom. Torches of freedom in the Easter Sunday parade in 1929, which was a significant moment for fighting social barriers for women smokers.
But look at the illustration that they give in the
Yeah, check out the illustration. Look at the illustration. I'm equal to you. Stand down. Right? Look at this. Now I'm going to ask you all real quick in the chat. You all in the chat here. That campaign. Did that campaign help society, help family, help women, or did it begin the degradation of family and immorality of women? Which of the two you think? Huh? Which of the two you think? I'm going to let you all chime in.
But you see, you know,
Yeah, go ahead.
You notice how they start off with smoking as some grand social stature stuff.
Yeah.
For, say someone's smoking, it's a good thing. So then they get the women now saying, yo, we want to smoke. We have the right to smoke. Just like what they did with the whole voting.
Exactly.
It's the same tactic.
It's the same Freudian tactic.
Yeah.
It's actually a term called a Freudian tactic.
That's from Sigmund Freud, right?
Sigmund Freud. It's the same campaign they use to push anything.
A cokehead, mind you.
Yeah.
Top cokehead.
But mind you, these campaigns can only be pushed on the ignorant of the people, the ill-informed of the people. Very few people of substance are actually swayed, brothers and sisters, by what they see on TV, by the media. And whoever buy into this garbage are victims. Now, I want to focus on the women real quick. And I'm going to go into our women also, because you have to realize, sisters, feminism was never for you. Okay? They united you with all women. Okay? Starting with the European woman. But by uniting yourself with that liberal movement, it detached you from your man. It detached you.
Just on a spiritual side, Elder,
I was going to go there first. I'm going to go to the spiritual side.
All right.
See, but I want to deal with it from a side that everyone can understand, because people believe that the ideas that they have are their own, and the choices they're making are their own. They don't realize they've been programmed to think a certain type of way, and they're actually a social experiment. I wanted to emphasize that first. You may think this is just the way I am, I always been, I grew up being this way, not realizing you're socialized. Okay? And we're being socialized against each other. And while we're pointing and blaming each other, a judgment is on the horizon. So I wanted to put those words out there, like patriarchy, to let you understand that this system is a system against God. The Most High never set up a patriarchic, a matriarchic system. It's against God. That's number one. It destroys society. It destroys family. And all that I'm a strong this and I'm a strong this and I'm a strong woman. That's all garbage. Or I'm a strong man. What's that? Either you're a man of the Most High or you aren't. Either you're a virtuous woman under the Most High or you aren't. We have to stop being utilized like political footballs for the enemy. And I wanted to put it out there on the political standpoint first, because now they have accomplished what they wanted. They've accomplished it. Because our children are being raised in this matriarchic system, believing it's normal. And it's a sick system. Feminism is sick. A woman believing that she can't make it without a man is sick. Okay. And what was the greatest tactic or the greatest demon the sorcerers would place on women that would assure a systematic destruction of family? A real man don't want a man.
That's right.
See? A real man don't want a man. Because you'll butt heads. If you're the masculine, you're the lion of your jungle. Okay? But suppose they develop the mindset of a man in the shape, form, and voice of a woman. Then you'll have what? Two lions clashing in the same house.
And Elder, check this out.
Yeah.
When you say here, when you say a woman, a man don't want a woman. A man don't want
a man don't want another man, not a real man.
Now, sisters might be taking this on, right? And so, well,
yes.
I don't act like a man. I act, dainty and like a woman, but really, it's still that aspect of that mindset of you trying to rule over your man, even being a woman, acting like a woman. Like, what I'm saying is that we're not necessarily talking about butch woman.
Yeah,
a woman being butch.
When you think about a masculine, let me give some examples.
Yeah.
Okay. When someone think about a masculine woman, this is what comes to mind, right? This is what normally comes to mind here, right? This comes to mind. Now, this is sick in itself. I don't even want to do. What is this, right? And these are two white women who try to be dudes. Total sickness here. But here's an example of this is our sister right here, right? There's a sister, right? Right? Now, when you talk about masculine women, most people automatically go to what? The extreme and look and think this is the example of what masculinity is. But no. You have to understand the psychology of this, brothers and sisters. The psychology is the matriarchy means if you're equal to man, you're what? You think like a man. You are a man.
I can, whatever a man can do, I can do.
Exactly.
That's that mindset.
Now, especially in the day of this so-called
independent woman.
Not only that, millennial thinking generation we live in today. Millennials, what's that? Millennials are what? I would just say millennials hellbound. What do that mean? Millennial hellbound. right? Here's a video. I can't play the video, but do you have the lyrics for me real quick?
I think I got him here.
Let me show you. Now look at this. Now what you see is in this video, brothers and sisters, by Jesse J, is a bunch of hot mess, a bunch of women. Now let me give you the title of this. I can't play it and still have a YouTube page, so I'll just give you the title of this groundbreaking, multi-platinum song. Do It Like a Dude. Now, there's women everywhere celebrating this song. Not just white women now. You see bald black women in there, nose rings looking like do it like a dude. Check out the lyrics. It went from torches of freedom, I just want to be able to smoke a cigarette to look equal to men, to do it like a dude. What we're seeing now was the same demon in 1929 exposed or revealed. This was their plan the whole time. Look at this woman. Can you imagine sitting down with this woman and ask, let's get a picnic. Let's get a picnic blanket and go sit down and have some tea and biscuits. Can you imagine asking this young lady for some coffee? Let's go sit down and have a little tea and just talk some scriptures. Listen to the words, brothers and sisters. Stomp, stomp, I'm arrived. Drop the beat, nasty face. Why you looking at me? Flying, flying, flying through the sky in my spaceship. I'm an alien tonight. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Let me go straight to the chorus. I can do it like a brother, do it like a dude. Grab my crotch, wear my hat, low like you. Do it like a brother, do it like a dude. Grab my crotch, wear my hat, low like you. We can do it like the mandem. Hey, we can do it like the mandem, sugar, sugar, sugar.
Oh boy.
Right? Are you seeing this? Do it like a man. Huh? No one anywhere is seeing anything wrong with this. Now I'm going to get straight to the point here. We're going to deal with the scripture side in a moment. Right? Feminism has gotten us what? Destroyed families, confused children, aborted babies, and a right to say I'm equal. And it's a shame. I can understand why those who founded or destroyed and killed for this country would stand in that type of mindset. And I can understand why the powers that be will allow their women to operate in that mindset. Why? Because the white men that control this world know that these feminine women will never take their power. That they can use these white women to teach everyone else to be enemies one amongst each other. That's why they allow them women to do it. They don't care because they won't marry those women that's doing that. See? Exactly. They use the low bottom of their own people on these campaigns to teach us to be quote unquote equal and not need a man. Even though these women they wouldn't deal with. They wouldn't marry. The white feminists in this world are the low of the white people within this earth. Okay? They're just using them to teach our women. Okay? And they'll use it for a front. I don't need a man. I'm a feminist. I'm strong and I'm all that. Then they'll have our sisters doing it. Right? And then now our families are broke up. And guess who's on the arm of our brothers? They only use it as an enemy, as a weapon against our sisters. And our sisters have to wake up to this. They're teaching our sisters to think like men. It's a campaign. It's weaponry against family. It's weaponry against our society.
Against the image of the Most High.
Above all, against the image of the Most High God. Because the Most High is masculine and the Holy Spirit is the feminine. Two separate functions that works in harmony.
It's heights are evil. It's devilish.
Yes, exactly.
And, you know.
Exactly.
And it's the same as just as when the devil went into the garden and deceived the woman. It's the same deception going on right now to put the woman in a psychological state to think she's above her head.
Yes.
You understand? And it's like, you know.
Now, of course, I wanted to set it up. We're here at 1176 over 1,000. It's time to go now. Everyone hit the like button. Bring everyone in. We're about to drop it right now up in here. Now that we're over 1,000. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman? When you think masculine, most people think about what? Lesbians. But the majority of women in this earth who are programmed to operate masculine are quote unquote straight women. They just don't know that they're programmed under what? A matriarchy. Hope you're following me here. A matriarchy is button heads. But first of all, we have to understand the proper order according to the Most High God. What was a purpose? What was the purpose of the man? What was the purpose of the woman? Let's go to Genesis. Elder Lawya, you with me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're going to try to undo the curse of the masculine woman. And we're going to touch a lot of different points this evening. If there's any woman out there that's thinking that I can do bad by myself, I'm better off by myself, and I'm a strong woman, you've been deceived. These are talking points that leads to misery and a dejected, regretful life. Okay? Strength is with the Most High. And I know a lot of you sisters know this. Strength is having a good man. Being able to speak glowingly of your successful family. That's what you really desire. And a lot of these sisters, you know that's true. Right? You know it's true. But what happens? When you try to be this way, it's not the men that's pushing you in a different direction. Think about it. When you try to be this way, it's people you love or you grew up with who are around you looking at you saying, you weak. It's other women making you believe that being righteous and virtuous is incorrect.
Peer pressure.
The peer pressure of what others might say, you weak because you love your man, or you forgive your man, or you love your man. It ain't the peer pressure that comes from men. It's the peer pressure that comes from sisters. Or if you try to correct a sister who want to be worldly and all that, what they'll gang you have other women gang up against you. And say something must be wrong with you. You're weak. When you're only trying to hold virtue. The only virtue that's left you're trying to hold. And these devils are trying to steal. So it's not living up to a man's expectancy. We find our women, a lot of women, living up to how other women view them. And that's backwards in itself. and it's masculine. Because a woman shouldn't have to or deal with the pressures of another woman. That desire is supposed to be to your man, not to how another woman feels. So when you change who you are based on peer pressure of other women, that's someone with a man complex and have that authority that your husband or your man should have. And I don't care who she is. She can be a cousin, a mother, someone you looked up to. A woman, do what? A woman, brothers and sisters, leave her father and mother and cleave to her husband, and she become one flesh with him. Not dealing with the peer pressures of what a girlfriend thinks and what other people thinks. Now her mind is one with her husband's. And you know what? A matriarchic system is threatened by that powerful woman who may seem weak in this system, in this society. That's why they come and try to put the peer pressure on you, because why? Your light is shining above them, and it's shining a light on their evil darkness and wickedness. Okay? We're going into how to undo the curse of a masculine woman. A lot of women are operating masculine and don't even realize it. You don't have to be lesbian, but still have masculine tendencies. Some people have masculine tendencies because they were bullied. They grew up, people, especially dark-skinned sisters, they felt that everyone else was cleaving to someone else. So now they got a harder, they have a harder spirit. They become argumentative or defensive or whatever the case is. Don't even know that was developed from insecurities. The system made that. I'm going to say this right now. The greatest power a woman has is what the Most High gave you naturally, sister. And you know what that is? Femininity. You being feminine, caring, loving, a pillar of rest. Don't let anyone tell you that's weak or wrong or try to take that from you. That's your greatest asset. It's not your body, none of that. Your femininity and your virtue that the Most High made you, it's what's great. Think about it.
That's what a man wants.
How many? Yeah, I was talking earlier. How many times you seen a guy walking with a girl and other people look at the girl like, man, why is he with her? He could have a better looking girl. It don't have nothing to do with that.
She's a woman.
She's a pillar of rest. She's not trying to be the man in the house. She's walking with virtue and honor. And he'd rather have rest and peace than eye candy. Okay?
That's right.
So we're going to go into this today. The curse of the masculine woman. And you know what's a shame? How Satan made this? The masculine woman almost always, it doesn't matter what color you are, end up dying alone. And no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about it. It's taboo to even speak about it. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with the nature of virtue according to the Most High. Elder Lawya, you with me?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Genesis 3 real quick. When the Most High pulled Eve out of Adam's rib. The second chapter. Excuse me.
Okay. This is Genesis chapter 2. I'm going to start in verse number 18.
Come on.
And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone.
It's not good that man should be alone. Read.
I will make an helpmeet for him. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Hold up now. Let's deal with this first, though, Elder Lawya. The fact that he created woman out of man for a purpose, for the man. A woman existence came to be for the man. How do you know when you've been bamboozled? How do you know when a spell has been cast on you?
She don't need a man.
When you formulate out of your mouth, I don't need a man. That's how you know you are a product of sorcery. You were created for man. From man for man. So that thought of femininity and equality destroys your whole existence. And it leads, and guess what? And you know what it leads to overall? Misery. Because you know it deep in you that you desire that purpose. You desire that family. You desire to have things right when your man come home and have the bed turned down and have the kids asleep and at dinner holding hands praying. You know, that's what you want. But guess what? According to this world, you're weak. You're weak. And if enough of you do this, it'll shine a light on the wickedness that's going on in the earth. That's why they want every woman in solidarity. I know we don't agree with everything, but let's all be together against men. A lot of you don't even realize this, folks. And I think brothers and sisters need to examine this. Okay? It doesn't matter what happens, what goes down in this earth. A woman, I'm going to give an example, will speak in defense of another woman she don't even know. She don't even know she's attached to a matriarchy like she's supposed to be unto her own husband. She'll come to the defense of someone she don't even know. Why? She don't even know she's actually tied to a woman's movement. You can see someone and say, you know what? That's not healthy. That girl really need to, she probably need to drop a few pounds or whatever the case is. You can say anything and say it's going to be unhealthy if she keep eating like that. And you have another woman to come out of nowhere and say,
why'd you say that?
Why did you say that? That's not nice. So it's not nice to actually speak to what is for correction. What type of world are we living in, folks? Well, you can't correct anyone.
And Allah, you know,
I'm gonna let you go in, but I just want to go into, a lot of people don't even know that women are in defense of other women. They don't even know. And maybe I know why, but some people can call in and talk about it this evening. Maybe they feel they're the only people that have my back. Right? Okay. That's an answer to it, but it still doesn't point to solution. That whole spirit of defense was supposed to be aimed towards your purpose, sisters. In defense of your husband and your family. Not in some matriarchal connection to women. Okay? There's an order to things. Yes, you can have friends and all that. But when it comes to breaking the purpose of your existence and your agreement under God, that's when you have to draw the line, folks, sisters. Okay? And a lot of people don't know the line anymore, and that's the reason for this show. What were you saying?
Plenty of like things come into my mind. Like
yes.
I have, you know, I come out of this generation where we were taught that we should go to school, get educated, then start families. You with me?
Yes.
I have a lot of friends right now that mid-30s, almost in them 40s right now. Sisters,
Yeah.
without a husband, without no children, miserable.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Miserable, like proper miserable. And I'm talking about as recent as maybe a month or so or two ago. I'm giving counsel to friends who are not even in the truth, just on life. Like, yo,
Just in life.
yeah, like, yo, listen, sis, you need to go get a man and get pregnant. You with me? And and build a family. And it's like the feedback I'm getting is that, something, I wish I'd done it earlier. I wish I'd done that.
But you know why they couldn't do it earlier?
Tell me.
In their prime years,
Mm-hmm.
when they were supposed to be building that prodigy, that legacy with the family, they were told to use what they have and just have fun
Exactly.
at the age in which they were supposed to be sowing some seed
Exactly.
for a family that they would have in their twilight years.
Yeah,
You understand?
100%.
But they're told you're wasting your life.
It was
When your body's right and your face is right and everything is good, you're wasting your life if you choose family and righteousness first.
It's from
But what are you sacrificing? Throwing your life to the world at the early age. What are you sacrificing? What are you missing? And that's the piece, Elder Rawchaa. That's the piece that this system will seldom inform you or give you knowledge about. That your decisions today will affect you later on in your life when you're no longer with the same face and body and all those things. Right? Let's talk about it now. Recklessness. Exactly. This world teaches us if you got it going on, live reckless. And then one day when you get older, then you can settle down. But guess what? It's different. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's different for women than it is for men. A man will get older in his 40s and all that in his 50s and still be able to get it all together and have his life.
It's not forgiving like that for women, is
It's
it?
not that forgiving for sisters like that. And it's just not that way.
And I would say that's a curse of
It's a curse. That's what I'm saying.
of a masculine.
It's a
woman.
curse of a masculine woman because they're saying that men I can do it like a dude. I can be single like dudes. But the Bible says you have to give honor to the woman as a weaker vessel. A woman is not prepared psychologically or spiritually to deal with the backlash for missing those years with family, with children, and those nurturing years. And no one prepared you for it. No one told you about it. But you know what? It can be fixed. See, and that's the key thing that's the forgiving and loving nature of the Most High. Is the fact that regardless of our choices, there's a fix. See? There's a fix. First, realizing the system, realizing our part in the degradation within this system, and then what? Beginning the fix. It's not to judge or point things out. It's to say, you know what? Of course, I didn't know any better. What's the way? Show me the way. We're going to talk about it. Right?
That's right.
Let's talk about it. Right? Go in Corinthians where you were. Let's deal with that order real quick. Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir.
I need you to give a few scriptures for me here. All right.
Want me to finish up in Genesis, or you're finished with that?
I'm finished with that. I want to just go straight to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Corinthians. I want you to grab a few things for me, Elder Lawya. I'm going to get it one
Sir.
second. Get that for me real quick.
And then 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3.
Come on.
But I'll have you know that the head of every man is Yeshua.
The head of every man is Christ. Now, can I say, that's just like us, me being a man saying, I don't need a man. The man over me is Christ. Right?
Or even saying, I'm equal to Christ.
Exactly. Or saying, I need equality. Read.
And the head of every woman is the man.
Come on.
And the head of Christ is the Most High.
The head of Christ is the Most High. That's the proper order.
Come on.
Read.
That's it there. It goes into prophesying the head covered.
Okay. I'll deal with all those in a moment. Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir.
It's a few. I wrote a few down, but I want these. Let's go to Proverbs, Elder Lawya. Proverbs in the Bible, 12:4, because the Bible is the answer to any matriarchic system. Okay. First of all, the feminist movement would lose its power if our women would just come back. Because it's our women, our people, who's holding it up. But yet it's them benefiting from it. They're getting all the rich people in our system, they're getting. All the accolades that come from feminism, they're getting. And our sisters are being left out there. Let's read it real quick. I'm going to let you can bring it in a second.
Yeah.
Read it real quick, Elder Lawya. Proverbs 12:4.
Yes, sir. The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 4.
Come on.
A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband.
A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. Read.
But she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones.
But she that maketh ashamed is what?
As rottenness in his bones.
Is rottenness in his bones.
That's a cancer.
It becomes a cancer. And what happens? A man struggle, he fights in his home, and eventually what happens? The stress kills the man and she goes on alone. But it tell you the power of virtue. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. But she that maketh ashamed, where he hear about her all out there doing this, doing that, and the other, it's killing him. And there are good men, because I noticed part of the feminist movement, part of the evil movement, is to just point out the negative when it comes to men. As if there's no good men on earth at all. You very rarely hear a feminist talk about a good man.
They just hate men. They hate men.
Because the whole agenda is against men. It's to point out the negatives. And you hear other people repeating negatives on men. Okay? Negatives, as if there's no good men in the earth. That's a lie. And the same way women don't want to be typecast with all women, you have men who feel the same. See? It says, Elder Lawya, let's go to Proverbs 31 real quick. And I'm going to show you what this world, we're going to go into what this world deems a weak woman. Here's a weak woman according to this world. Let's read it, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. From verse 1.
Come on.
The words of King Lemuel.
No. Proverbs 31 and 10.
Verse 10. Yes, sir. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10.
Come on.
Who can find a virtuous woman?
Who can find a virtuous woman? Read.
For her price is far above rubies.
Now let's now get an example or the definition for a virtuous woman. Virtuous, righteous, good, moral, ethical, upright, upstanding, high-minded. That means not high-minded and haughty or proud, but in a righteous sense. There's certain things she won't do.
She's above pettiness.
She's above pettiness. She's above shame and shaming herself. There's certain things. People may call her prissy, but no. There's certain depths this woman will not stoop to. She's too virtuous for such an act. Right-minded, right thinking, principled. That means you have principle. Exemplary, clean, law-abiding, irreproachable, blameless, guiltless, unimpeachable, just, honest, honorable, incorruptible. And that's why the Bible asks, who can find such a one? We have a world in which let me tell you, the world corrupts our women before they have an opportunity to understand what virtuous mean.
You know, a few months ago, I went to a Lauryn Hill concert, right?
Speak a little loud.
Sorry, I went to a Lauryn Hill concert.
Okay.
And Lauryn Hill came out on the stage, right? Head covered, like a robe on, her skirt down to the floor, sweeping the floor, yeah? And people would look at her and say, she's crazy. But then Beyonce comes on stage, you know, in nothing. And everyone like, yeah, man, who around the world, you know, what woman should we be like?
I'm going to tell you straight out. It's when I see women like Beyonce on the stage and all that, it's just pure sluttiness, nastiness. It's nothing. There's nothing that say marry her. And you know what? I'm like, okay, you know what? Why is she with Jay-Z or whatever the case is? The Bible tell you, a wicked woman is given to the portion of a wicked man. Because a virtuous man or a good man wouldn't have his woman on stage like that, number one. Number two, who would want a woman gyrating in her underwear, showing all out for millions of people to see?
But yet
See, and not only that, that's not, you understand? That's not virtue right there. But you have other women looking at that and say, you know what? Yeah, I think my virtue is a twerk contest.
It's the backward nature of what we've been programmed.
Exactly.
They would look at Lauryn Hill and say she's crazy. And like, nah, man, this is a woman.
Exactly.
You with me? This is how a woman should be.
And let me say this, right? I know a lot of people out there are saying, or might be thinking, if you're a sister or whatever the case is, man, they're going in. You can't be judging women or whatever the case is. Listen, I'm not saying anything that virtuous women wouldn't want to say. But they're being peer pressured every time they bring up the wickedness of women and what's going on in the earth. These women are being shunned by their own family. Okay, or they try to correct their girlfriend or someone who's trying to be like that. And guess what? Now they find themselves in a fight. The unrighteous and the shameful have bullied the virtuous women into a corner to the point where they can't even speak out against the injustice that happens within women's circles. Okay.
And Elder, I just read a comment.
Yes.
I just want to put something out there. This isn't a bash
and not at all
on anybody.
At all.
This is
No, I put it out there because you have somebody that probably came in mainstream, just came into it and didn't hear the disclaimer from the beginning that it's nothing personal, which is dropping what's going on in the earth and how masculinity has affected women. And women are operating masculine without knowing it.
And it's to all women.
Yeah, it's not purpose. It's not on purpose. They've taken on masculine roles, even by default, with no man being there, whatever the case is. Have turned women into operating under masculinity in a nutshell. But let's go back to virtue. Come on.
Verse number 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is what?
Far above rubies.
Far above rubies. This woman right here that we're reading about is more precious than gold. Is more precious than any material thing in the eyes of God. And you know what? And I know women may say, well, listen, I try to be this way and men don't appreciate it. You know what? If you don't appreciate it, guess what? His lost. His lost. But guess what? You don't have to change who you are and lower your morality based on him. Or what? You're carrying the hurt of that man, that masculine energy with you. Don't let no man bring you down. Because you're not doing it just for man. You're doing it for the Most High God first.
The hidden man of the heart.
Exactly. See? You have to really take pride on how you are viewed by the Most High. You should have pride in that sense. That I want to make sure I'm a virtuous woman, regardless of this world or what men would like me to be. I will hold a virtuous stance in every scenario. In spite of the peer pressures within this world. I'm the daughter of the Most High God. I'm his daughter, and he's watching. See? Read on.
Verse 11. The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her.
It says the
So
heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her. You know what I seen? And it brought tears to my eyes. A couple of weeks ago, someone sent me a video. It was a brother, not a deadbeat brother, not a brother that didn't want to take care of his family or his children. It was a brother that was working 2-3 jobs, taking care of his child, on top of paying child support, making sure he give the child extra things, knowing that 90% of the money is not going to go to the children. And when he got a raise, he was dragged in the court. This guy can't even pay his rent, about to get put out and everything. The majority of his check is going to this woman. And he's sitting there crying that he don't have no money for himself through child support. And guess what? She's in the court laughing. And the brother broke down in tears in the court. Now, who would relish in that moment to see their man broken publicly before everyone? And I looked at it, I'm like, Lord, it's almost over. It's almost over. We've been broken enough. And I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, I'm going to put it out there. All of us were broken and enslaved. All of us. Not just women, not just men. We've all been under this curse. And the greatest curse of it all, brothers and sisters, is that we're both living under the curse. Last week, I started with the men. We're both under the curse, fighting each other. Now, how cursed is that? How cursed is that? It's to a point where we don't have to worry about what white supremacy is doing and what the other nations are doing against us. We're doing a good enough job without them in destroying ourselves. Finish reading.
Verse number 11. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Who can find a virtuous woman? Read.
For her price is far above rubies.
Come on.
The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her.
Now, why am I going? You know why I'm going here? Why am I going here? Because guess what, folks? These women exist all in our system. And guess what? You will seldom hear a story of these virtuous women anywhere on the news. They get no credit. Okay? No one speaks of them. They exist. There's no media coverage on these women. Mm-hmm. It's just a slutty, nasty behavior that's promoted on our children. But these women, these virtuous women in Proverbs exist, but they have been quieted. They haven't been celebrated. They don't stand up and say, well, hold up. All this is wrong. We're here too. Where's our equal press? The only press y'all have out there is on what? Single women, women that ain't right, women that have turned to lesbian. These are the only people that's being celebrated in this system. Mm-hmm. You would think there's no virtuous women, and guess what? They exist. I've seen them growing up within our society. They exist. Even through all the hood action and all the evils going on in our society, mm-hmm. we have examples of good, virtuous women. Okay? But you'll rarely hear about them. Come on. Someone says, lots of love. I think the sister says, we are a mess. Listen, that's what's being more so promoted. Mm-hmm. But the immoral side is overtaking the righteous side. I can tell you that. It's an imbalance right now. I'll put it that way. Come on.
It says that the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
Verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
It says she'll do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Mm-hmm. That's a virtuous woman. Now, every relationship has ups and downs. This is not speaking of a perfect relationship here. Mm-hmm. This is speaking of an enduring relationships through the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. Even through the ups and downs. Exactly. She's gonna hold him down.
Marriage is really for sickness and health till death do you part, and not just to party. Mm-hmm. Not just a temporary contract with a party before you married over and over again. Marriage really means something to the virtuous. Mm-hmm. Read on.
She's loyal.
Loyalty. Go on.
Mm-hmm. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Mm-hmm. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. Mm. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hand she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hands to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household.
She's doing, guess what? She's doing everything and more. The snow is not going to stop her. She's going to do what's right for her family. Mm-hmm. And you don't hear her running around everywhere talking about, I'm a strong woman, I'm this, I'm that. If you're doing it, guess what? You really have to speak on it. Mm-hmm. You're only speaking on it. Why? I'm going to leave that up to you. It's more action with a virtuous woman. It's not about the talk. It's the act. She's being a strong woman, not talking about it. And her strength first lies in what? In that connection with the most, her God. Okay? In solidarity with her family, her children. Read. Come on.
Verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet.
Come on.
She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple.
Now,
her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land.
And when her husband sit amongst the elders of the gates, there's no rumors out there. Everyone is speaking of how great of a woman his wife is. And you notice she's doing all this stuff, but still take time to make sure her life, her apparel is put together also. You'll never know she's doing all these things. That's a strong woman.
And also,
and not only that, she's not looking for credit either. She's not looking for someone to say, yeah, you're doing this and you're doing that. Okay? Her congratulations come in knowing what? She's virtuous. Not some outside appreciation. This fabrication they have what I would call the Joneses complexes you see in the world. Where people are looking for actual acceptance and accolades from the outside of them amongst their peers. This woman don't seek vainglory. Come on.
It says, she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth her girdles unto the merchants.
Come on.
Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness.
Read that again.
She openeth her mouth with wisdom.
When she opened up her mouth, it's wisdom of the Most High. Read.
And in her tongue is the law of kindness.
In her tongue is the law of kindness. When she speak, there's love. The Holy Spirit is within her whispers. She's caring in her tone. That's a pillar of rest. And you have to realize with the hustle and bustle and the evils of this world, one of the rare places a man can get a pillar of rest is next to a good, loving, caring, quiet woman. See? That's a man's reward. See? Read.
Verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
Come on.
Her children
and she eat. Hold up. It says she eateth not the bread of idleness, being a busybody, all up in other people's business. Read.
And just one.
Go ahead.
Just start, Elder. If you notice, everything is directed.
Speak up.
Everything is directed back to her house, to her household, to her family.
Exactly.
Being from the beginning, that held that the Most High made Eve for Adam.
Exactly. It all goes back to building her purpose in her household.
With her husband, building that empire. Building that.
Exactly.
That's what it's about. It's not about the fight between man and woman. There shouldn't be a fight. It says you become one flesh.
Exactly.
She's supposed to be building the house, help building the man.
Exactly. But they've set up a matriarchy
That's
where what she built is for herself.
Oh, I don't need a man.
I don't need a man.
I'm independent. All
exactly.
That. And just saying that, Ella, look at let's examine the system.
Yeah.
This thing, the matriarchy system does not work. Suicide's up, crime's up. You understand? Depression's up. Poverty. Everything that this system represents.
See, but then you have to ask, and maybe we'll have some sisters call in and give us the answer. Why uphold this system knowing it only leads to misery? You're not happy in this system.
I guess that's where we come in helping to break
Exactly.
this curse. Shedding the light on
exactly.
this. Because this topic in itself it's multi-layered and deep.
And you notice this woman is doing all these things, but she's not masculine.
She's not prideful. She's not boastful.
Exactly.
None of that. She's doing what her purpose is from the beginning.
Exactly. You understand? But there's a difference between this woman and what the Bible calls a haughty woman. A woman in which you can't tell anything to. I know everything. And with that particular spirit of masculinity in a woman, that haughtiness brings a curse. I'm going to go into that in a moment. I'm going to go into it. But before I go into it, you understand? Need y'all to hit the like button, get more people up in there. Let me take a few calls because I know that Blog Talk is going to be off soon. So I'm about another 40 minutes. So let me get some calls real quick because I'm sure we have sisters and brothers online. And as you can see, we're doing this not in some judgmental vein or anything like that. We really are talking and bringing light to what is and seek of solution. Because the most people out there bring this information out, it's about the blame game. Not about speaking to what is for a righteous, leading to a righteous conclusion or fix. Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to say is you have some sisters say, well, I'm doing these things because man walked out and a man did this and a man did that. And that's an earnest. Right? But here's a question. Or you have a woman would say, well, I used to be that, but I was taken advantage of. Good answer. But here's the answer. Here's my answer to that. And I want to say, you knew what you were doing was right. And that man took advantage of it and didn't appreciate it. Right? So what you're saying is,
you're going to be wrong now because...
You're going to be wrong because of someone who was undeserving. Because you used to be right, but people don't like right. Nah. He didn't deserve the right. He walked out on the right. He destroyed your right. But guess what? The virtue is in you. He just wasn't the one for it. Now, what you're going to carry that man who now covers that real virtue that's in you. And when the right person comes, you're going to give him the product of that man. Of that's that masculinity. The hardiness. See? But the virtue is in us. We got to start blaming each other and say, listen, he's nowhere around anyway. I'm not going to change who I am and go to hell because of what he did. I'm not going to choose hell because of him. I'm going to hold my virtue if not for anyone but who? Myself and my God. Let's go down the line. Let's take some calls.
Yes, sir.
We're trying to undo the curse of the masculine woman. Now, we're not speaking right now of masculine lesbians and all that. We all know when it comes to reprobates that the Most High wish that they would repent. But if they don't repent, they will die. We're dealing with this on other levels outside of sexual perversion today. Let's go down the line. A couple of minutes per person. 501 area code. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. 501.
Used to be that, but I was taking advantage of.
Okay, when I call your number, please put your, turn off the background. I'm going down the line. If you're listening to me, turn down the background. You put some headphones in because if I hear some back noise, I'm going to the next call. Next call, 903 area code. And after that, it's 205 area code. Shalom, you're live with the Elder Rawchaa and the Gathering of Christ Church. How are you? Chime in. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. Nobody's there. Going to the next call. Okay. Next one, we're going 205 area code. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. Shalom.
Shalom.
You're live.
Oh man, Elder, I am in tears, man. This is it's timely. It is so timely. It really is. But I wrote this out. I said you described my mindset that I was subjected to about 5 years ago, and the Most High was gracious enough to place a head over me that I never even expected to have, and it has been a blessing and more than rewarding job to have to be in this house right now. I love the position that I'm in, and I am allowed to raise the head of the household and raise the children up. And even when I get weary, I consider Cameron above all of me. It's just what weighs on him. It makes it where.
Hey, sister, there's some noise. Sister, there's some noise in your phone. I need some clarity for the sake of the broadcast. Is you moving your phone around?
I had to take it off of speakerphone. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Go on.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's way better. Please don't. No one listening. If you're listening, no speakerphones, please. Go on.
Well, I've just said all of this to say, we're building a strong legacy now. It starts in the household, and I'm loving the fact that the Most High has it to where I am trying to fulfill Proverbs 31. That's what blessed me the most.
Hey, sister, let me ask you. Sister, let me ask you a question in general. You're saying that as if at one point you were affected by this system like most of us were. What do you realize now, or what did you figure out or change from when you were brought up in the world under this, what you would call matriarchy?
The fact that, I had to get out of my mom's vindictiveness and her cruelty towards whatever. It was just the fact that I needed to grow up. And
okay, no, hold up, sister. That's a little vague.
Made me grow up.
Sister, that's a little vague there. When you say get out of her wickedness, what are you talking about?
She would have just. It would be more so like a like the mindset that you were describing. The whole I don't need a man. I can do bad by myself, and I see how it changed my mother, and I didn't need to be in that. And I'm glad that I'm not in that anymore.
Okay, so what you're saying is she used to expound that type of behavior or understand or disdain for a man on you to the degree in which she wanted you to feel like she felt against men.
Yeah, it was that against my dad. She would be around women that were like that as well. That was what I was subjected to.
And how did that affect you?
It started to. It really didn't affect me greatly like that, but it was trying to get in my mind like, oh well, how women are supposed to be this whole independent. You just get a job and then worry about kids later on. I had friends that I have who told me, oh, I don't even know why I want to even have children. That's going to mess my body up. And I was just like, that just didn't sit right with me. I wanted kids.
It would mess her body up. So what's she going to use her body for? What does she need her body for? I got the answer. Sin. Thank you. Let me. All right, sister.
Right.
All right, sister. I'm going to place you on hold. Okay. All right.
Of course. Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Sister Jenny, And you know what? I'm glad she was able to talk about it, because now what we're doing now in this conversation is breaking this protection bubble that liberal, matriarchy, feminist women don't want other women to discuss. We're breaking that bubble. Okay, that chain, that curse of protecting a woman, even if she's dead wrong, I'm going to protect her. I'm glad she was able to come out and not go into further detail, but she spoke to something deep though right there. She said, and we have this in our society, where because the mother had a problem with the father, she began to influence her daughter to hate men. That's deep in itself too, right? But hopefully we can break that curse, and that sisters can realize, because not just her, other sisters are dealing with that. There's power in forgiveness. Don't take that weight of hurt to your grave. 646 area code. How to undo the curse of the masculine women. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder. This is Jenny from New York State. One thing that I thought about how I might have grown up with a masculine over masculinity is because I grew up and I came into the truth at 18, and before 16, 17 years old, I really remember thinking to myself, I don't think I'll ever get married. I don't know if I'll ever get married. And even eventually accepting that and saying, I don't want to get married. And the reason for that, because I grew up in a two-parent household, is because I understood that there was no expectation of marriage in the world. So from a young age, I had to make myself okay with the possibility that I would never get married. Not because I thought there was anything wrong with me, but because from what I saw, I didn't see that anybody wanted to get married.
So
that was a reality I had to make myself okay with, that I might be a single parent in the future, even though I currently have no kids. But I had to make myself okay with the idea, okay, when I grow up, I have to be independent. I have to have 1 or 2 jobs. I have to have a savings, because I could be with a man and he might leave me, so I can't be too dependent on him because I can't really rely on him.
Okay, so you had that as a built-in. You had that. Hold on, sister. Can you hear me?
That I noticed over masculinity is.
Can you hear me, sister?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is there was a built-in.
I can hear you.
There was a built-in mechanism of defense, where to to protect your insecurities, you just adjusted yourself to say, you know what? I don't want to be married. Now you don't have to deal with the disappointment if no man chooses you for marriage.
Exactly.
Okay. I understand that.
And it's not like I thought there was something inherently wrong with me. I had pretty great confidence. It was that that was just a society that we were living in. No one wants to get married.
Exactly.
People just, they move in together, then they leave each other.
Exactly.
Then the other thing that I noticed exactly with over masculinity is that even though I grew up in a two-parent household and my mother was very virtuous and I had a great father, the way my household was set up, if I asked my father for something, he would always tell me, ask your mom, ask your mom. So from a young age, after a while, I didn't go to him for anything. I just went to my mom. So after coming to the truth, I realized I had to deprogram myself from thinking it was like, because I wasn't used to a man telling me what to do. Because my father just allowed my mother to dictate, everything in the household.
Okay, that's a great point.
I think in order for us, yes.
So really, what
are the children in the future?
Yeah.
Telling. Sorry.
No, go ahead, wrap it up because I got a lot of calls. Just wrap it up. Go ahead.
Yes. Wrapping up, just telling my children, this is what I expect you. I expect you to get married. I expect you to bring home a good guy. If you like someone, tell me about it, and we can speak about it. They can come to the home. This is what a wife is. And then fathers, just not being afraid to tell you, to be stern with your daughter and just tell her, okay, make your bed or do this or do that, or no, you can't do this. I yield.
Great point. Thank you, sister. And what I wanted to say on this, she brought so many great points. I want to get with that chat in a moment. But real quick, she brought some good points. One point was brothers have to understand when a daughter is coming to you for something, she's asking you from a father's perspective. So the answer to that can't be, go ask your mother, go ask your mother, go ask your mother. All right? So you have to you have to realize the consequences of that. Because when she grow now, she's not going to ask you for manly advice that's needed, your wisdom. But we talked about it men last week. Okay. Now, what you got there, Gadja?
No, man, it's just the chat was kind of like, blowing up. People were making comments. You
gotta speak up.
Sorry, man. People were making comments about from the last week's show, saying, when they seen the topic, the curse of the masculine woman, I think people are expecting that we're talking about, perverse women. That's not necessarily the topic tonight. And that's one extreme. We're actually dealing with women taking on masculine tendencies and disguise under feminism.
Yeah, in a nutshell, you have to realize a lot of brothers and sisters don't know that this system, believe it or not, systematically grow women in with masculine tendencies and behaviors. It teach a woman to be strong and independent. The system don't lean towards a young man and say be strong and independent. So there's masculine traits that's actually programmed in the women that now those traits will be used against their future husband.
To destroy the family.
Because in order for them to coexist, someone going to have to yield some of that power and give that strength over to the man. And it's not going to be the man if he's a real man. See? Now, the men that are trained to be emasculated and listen to a woman and be under a woman that will accept that. But a lot of these arguments and bickering and fights that's going on is because of how we were brought up. Men were brought up depending on women, and women were brought up in a masculine sense of being the provider. And she don't know no different. But it comes a time and when you do run into a man, you have to realize, sisters, that some of that energy and that power will be needed, but you got to know when to yield that to a real man, to a man. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Sister Shaniqua from New York.
Shalom, Elder. This is Shaniqua, New York State.
Okay.
So you're making really good points, Elder. As I was growing up, before I came into truth, my mom used to always tell me when I was younger, do not depend on no man, don't get married, don't have kids. And it was just really tough seeing her having to provide for me and my younger sisters by herself because her father wasn't in the picture. So she was put in a situation where she has to provide and she has to be tough and has to be masculine. So she wouldn't want us she was trying not to make us see her cry, because once we see her cry now, it will put on us first. Okay, now we have to have a mother at a younger age. So for me, even though I didn't see her cry or anything like that, I could tell she was sad and everything. So it would put me in mind first, I have to be strong. I have to be an adult now that in my age, so I can help my mom with all the stuff in her life. So at a younger age, I had to be more of an adult when I was young, in middle school, high school, helping bring money into the household and everything, so I could help her out. Okay. So I think another reason why women become masculine and have a masculine aura around them is probably because they don't want their kids to see them, being weak. So once they see their kids being weak, they don't want to have their kids be the ones to grow up earlier than when they have to grow up and have to help provide. You know what I'm saying? So no parent wants to see their child, having to, help out or be an adult at a young age.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking as well.
Thank you, sister. And I'm going to place you on hold. Shapat, you can come in 1 second. I'm glad she brought that out, because I think what I'm hearing from a lot of sisters, that for the sake of survival, a lot of their actions were out of necessity. A lot of these actions and taking on these roles was out of sheer survival, in which the system itself and the environment dictated that the only choice for survival was for them to take on these roles. But it's about, now we understand the roles come in different dynamics from different circumstances. But now we have to understand, if you know that we are a product of what's wrong and that we are a product of the curse. Now, shall we continue to live in it and sensationalize it? Or should we now fix it? Because we know it's an issue. It's obvious there's a problem.
Let me add just real quick. I'm just reading off of the comments here. The number to call in right now won't work. Blog Talk is closed. So you have to keep with us on on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right.
Just put your notice on YouTube because the call-ins have been cut off early tonight. Okay? We're going to have a 2-hour call-in next week if y'all would like to continue the discussion, but we had to cut it short today.
No.
But we still have people on the phone that was in queue since 6:30, 7 o'clock. That's why they're able to come in.
No. To add to what the sister was saying just then, like you said, out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
Now we're moving into a time right now where the Most High is waking up his men.
Yes.
His men are waking up, coming back to him. You understand?
Yes.
So the dynamics now is that our sisters now have to look and say, all right, watch this. We're going to have to turn back over what we were doing out of necessity and give it back to the king.
Exactly.
Give it back to the man. Let them let the man lead.
And put the trust in it.
Exactly.
And know that a man is not used to leading. You're going to have to deal with the pitfalls in the adjustment period also.
But deal with it.
But we're going to have to transition.
Exactly.
Because let me drop what's going to happen. I'm going to bring you in, Shabbat, in 1 second. If you don't take heed and just change. And I'm going to drop it in scriptures in a moment also, but I'm going to talk to you. Because what's going on, women been fed up a long time ago. But now men are fed up. Men are fed up with being utilized and being destroyed by an unbalanced system. And these choices men are making are irrational now. Okay? So it's one consequence leading to a worse issue, because now you have men that don't trust nobody anymore and are choosing just to listen. They don't want to deal. They're not committing no more. And then on top of that, the system now is building a wall, and they've gotten exactly what they wanted: women and children alone with no protectors. Okay? So the writing on the wall is there. You know, these foreign troops and all that is going to be ravishing and destroying women everywhere. And no one is going to, there will be no rights. There will be no rights. When they declare martial law on this land, all constitutional rights are out of the window. So the rights you received as a minority, as a feminist, as LBGT, or whatever else you want to call yourself, no longer exist. And if you don't have a protector, you'll die in that day. It's coming to a head now.
You see, I believe our sisters, and I'm gonna say it. I believe the majority of our sisters want to be virtuous.
Yes, they do.
Want to be.
They do.
Under righteous leadership. You understand me? They want that.
Let me tell you, I've seen some examples where sisters will come into the truth, have a guy with some good tendencies, but he's still street or whatever, but try to work and try to mold this man and say, listen, why don't you read the Bible? And the men don't want it. I've seen those instances where the men just want to do what they want to do, and the women are trying to steer guys into virtue, into leadership. So this is not about bashing the women. You understand? It ain't about that at all. It's about dealing with the reality of the matter. And understanding the consequences that come from these cursed actions.
Right.
You understand? Come on in.
We can't render evil for evil.
Yeah, you come on in real quick. Shapat want to say something real quick.
Yeah, we can't render evil for evil. You know, like what the elders are mentioning. A lot of these things have come about, both men and women, brothers and sisters, have been subject to the Willie Lynch syndrome, you understand? And, you know, just because a brother, or past brothers, let's say, has done these things, you understand? Or you've heard these stories from your other sister friends have told you stories, or even your mother, your own mother and father, whatever the scenario of other situations, and that's been your experience, you can't then turn around and say, okay, I'm going to render evil for evil, and I'm going to maintain and butt heads with other men and stay in a masculine mindset. But that's not what I wanted to actually speak on. Someone mentioned in the comments
Misogynist?
about the misogyny, so I just wanted to touch on that. Okay, because this topic is a really key topic, especially with the times we're in.
Yeah.
And for those who are new to the truth, or those who've never heard of the truth, and for those in the truth, and for family members of those in the truth, some may view what this discussion is tonight as misogynist or misogyny, right? I just want to give the definition of misogyny to show and prove that no way, shape, or form can this be called misogyny.
It's called misogyny by liberals and feminists and lesbians.
Exactly.
That's when it's misogyny. Anything that protects family and uphold the role of man in its proper perspective according to God is misogyny according to perverts and freaks.
Right.
Or terrorism.
But go on.
Right. Perfect example. But here's the actual meaning of the word misogyny. This is from Merriam-Webster's. Misogynist is here's the definition, it's a noun, a person who hates women.
I don't hate women.
Yeah, right. Now, as men, which was last week's broadcast, men are commanded to love, which is
their
the opposite
wives.
of hate, their wives, and even give their life, like Christ gave their life for the church, right? A person who hates women. It's a portrait of an intellectually demanding man who is intolerant of mediocrity, who wish to acquire knowledge as well as credentials, who is a feminist amongst misogynists, who is unwilling to accept ideas simply because fraud, all their other stuff. Next definition, characterized by expressing misogyny or hatred of women. Despair, alcoholism, and suicide were the common consequences of time spent with this misogynist womanizer. So when this word womanizer, it invokes being in despair, alcoholism, and womanizing, none of which we are.
Yeah. And see, but these talking points, they bring in the talking points to divert from the conversation that must be had. The conversation leads to solution. They don't want people talking about it because they need as many women as possible in this destructive, demonic feminist movement. No women, no movement. Now, I wanted to mention this real quick before I bring you in, Lawya. Someone says, Tiffany Franklin, and I want to put this out there. She says, and it's not going to happen by our black men comparing our femininity to white girls. Now, let me make this clear. We don't compare anyone's femininity to white girls. What I've witnessed growing up, it's sisters that care more about what's going on with white girls in comparison to dating than men. Okay? It's them looking to the white women as their threat. I'm talking about in the system, in the world.
That's not feminist.
It's
movement.
them, exactly. Yeah. But those are feminist talking points. Not once did we say here that we're comparing white girls to what sisters are dealing with altogether. What we brought forth is that the feminist movement were created by white Jews using white women, and that there's no place in feminism for black women at all.
For Israelite women.
For black women, Israelite women, or women of color. Why? Because the benefactors of feminism are white women at the end of the day. They're just using you for their political numbers so that they can benefit from it. Because why? There's a caste system when it comes to women and feminists. And who's at the bottom of that caste system? Black women. Okay? So you're upholding this solidarity with women when the women at the top of that caste system could care less about you. They're just down with you as a woman to destroy your man. That's the only thing and to destroy your children with abortion. That's the only time they're in agreement with you, the feminists. Okay, the white feminists that are controlling this system, the so-called Democrat white liberal woman, is only down with a black woman when it comes to helping you destroy your family and kill your children in abortion.
The number one killer for black babies, for black people, is abortion in America. Number one.
Exactly.
Look it up. And who pushing that? Who is pushing that?
Exactly.
Feminists.
Exactly. So what we're saying is disalign yourself with feminists regardless of the color and align yourself back with your man. Thus saith the Most High God.
That's right.
Father, if you're not married and your husband...
Yo, let me read some scriptures here, Elder, real quick, if you don't mind.
Hold up now. I don't want to. Listen, I only got 20 minutes of calls and they've been holding on. Let me go through the calls and we'll stay. We'll stay for this because YouTube is still going, right? And I definitely have to get Lawya's opinion, so hold tight with me. We have brother Adam from PA. How to undo Shalom. You got 1 minute. How to undo the curse of the masculine woman. How do we fix this?
How you break this curse and how you fix this problem is how you fix every problem and how you break every curse. And it's just to stay focused on the Father, keep a laser focus on the Father. And that's everything I want to say. But Sister Jen wants to say something real quick.
Okay.
1 second, sir. She got to put the headphones in.
Okay. Take your time.
Here, you're on. Yeah, let them know you're there.
Hello?
I want to say this. Someone said, get out of here with this stuff. This conversation is for Hebrews, not you. Let me make this clear. This conversation we have is for everyone. It's for everyone. Okay? Because what's going on in our system are actually affecting everyone along all color lines. Feminism is a demon. Let me put that out there. So no one comes in our chat and become moderators and and try to bully people into not hearing the conversation. We're teachers of the Most High God, and our word is for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, Hebrew or not. Go ahead, sister.
Hello.
Talk to me.
I had a question, a pretty personal question. My question for you is, if a woman that has had a pretty horrible past, a pretty terrible life, is it possible that same woman that has had a horrible life can change and be considered a virtual and righteous woman?
Absolutely. That's baptism. That's why Christ said, be born again. None of your sins will be mentioned.
Okay. And what steps would that involve?
Repentance. Confess your faults to those you've wronged, and get water and ask for forgiveness, and be baptized in the name of Ahaya Bashim Yeshaya Rawchaa and walk in newness of life. That simple. And then at that point going forward, leave off from all sins. That's it. That's all the Most High require. That's it.
Okay, and say Okay, how would a person that would get baptized and be a changed woman, how would she deal with people still seeing her as her past person and still considering her
sister,
the names of her past?
Sister, listen. You're not to think of how someone's going to view you going forward. That's not your responsibility. You have no power over how someone else view you. Once you've cleaned the slate, asked for forgiveness, no one can hold your past over you going forward. That's it. They can think what they want to think. You're clean. That's it.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
Bless you. All right, shalom.
Let me read something here for the sister here real quick.
All right, go ahead.
I'm in the book of Isaiah, the 1st chapter, and the 17th verse. So let me start at 16. It says, wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widows. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Most High. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If you be willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword. For the mouth of the Most High has spoken it. So this has nothing to do with what man thinks. The agreement that you make to put down sin has nothing to do with any man. That's between you and the Most High.
Exactly.
So could care less about what any man should think. The Most High say, yo, come let us reason together.
Exactly, because usually when you're making a righteous decision, the world is going to disagree and shun you anyway.
Exactly.
Or disagree anyway. Never in the eyes of the Most High. When you're walking in righteousness and contrition, don't ever look for that acceptance from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Make your peace, and that's it. All right? Brother Vic from Canada. One moment. Talk. Come on.
Hey,
talk to
Rawchaa, good day. How you doing, sir?
How do we fix this? Undo the curse of the masculine woman. I'm blessed by the best.
Well, yeah, one of the things that we need to do is that our women need to be submissive to their men. They shouldn't look at this system that has told them that I am strong, I'm independent, because from where I come from the continent, women show respect to their men, and men show love to the women. Okay, so from what we hear from the sisters, I think their mom were not respectful to their men, to their husbands, to their dad.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was led to all this, telling them, don't trust the man, you have to be strong and independent, which is so wrong, because my mom is not strong and independent. She depends on my dad for help. Okay, so one of the things I want to understand is that they need to be submissive to their men and respectful. If not, there'll be problems. Thank you.
The water. Let me read this real quick. Thank you, brother. Let me read this scripture real quick. Colossians 3 and 18. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord. Husband, love your wives and be not bitter against them. See? Be not bitter against them. There'll be some disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
But forgiveness is a natural affection, it's a natural point and a needed attribute in every relationship. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing unto the Lord. Right? Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. Right? Now listen to this here. Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
That's right.
Now, this didn't come with an asterisk. Okay. You're going to deal with this and you're going to apply this regardless of who he is and what he's doing. Why? Because that husband isn't given the rewards. The Most High is at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to let him change your virtue. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Now, usually when you bring this up, automatically some feminist or liberal or some demon come from somewhere and say, well, what about abuse? Do you see abuse in this scripture here? So why are you applying that to every topic when it comes to submission?
Mm-hmm.
As if submission cannot happen without abuse. That's what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to tie a woman being submissive with abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's an evil thought. The same way when a brother or sister speak against abortion, someone brings up rape. When 99% of the abortions that goes on
Free will.
is free will, babies you didn't want.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how they always use an extreme scenario.
They'll use extreme scenario
to be okay, the blanket cover now for everything.
exactly.
You understand? And when you go into Ephesians and you read further on down, it gives a stipulation for the man also and what the man should be towards his woman.
Let me tell you, and not only that, I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna have to examine this word abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they done move the bar to where if I don't like what you're saying, it's abuse.
Mm-hmm. That's true. If you raise your voice.
You understand?
Yeah, I feel abused.
No, guess what? I can disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not abuse. I can tell you how I feel if you're wrong. That's not abuse. So you have these feminist movements using all these words to guard and put a barrier between them and what? Correction.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh girl, you can't go out. You can't go out like we do. It seemed like it seemed like you in an abusive relationship. That party was bumping the other night. You being abused up there with that husband.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
and then none of that. He'll come downstairs and he'll look around because he know a demon is in his house trying to separate his family.
Mm-hmm.
He'll look around. And he'll look around like, yeah, I know, I see you, I see you, succubus.
Mm-hmm.
I see you. And he'll go back upstairs and you'll have the demon sitting down there next to your wife talking about, or your woman talking about, man, is he always walking downstairs like that? I don't know if I could deal with that abuse. 9 times out of 10, that woman is single.
Mm-hmm.
And no man wants her.
Mm-hmm. Usually all of the single ones giving advice.
Yeah, the single ones are the counselors.
Giving relationship
No. It's either the single ones or the feminine men.
The gay friend.
The gay friend. They're the advisors. He seemed abusive. He seemed controlling. Listen, if it's my house, I'm going to control what goes on in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not abuse, okay? That's being a man.
That's right.
Right? Let's talk about it real quick. We only got a few phone calls then, We have Brother Vic. We have about, 7 minutes before we end. So, Sister Keisha, come on. New Jersey, Sister Keisha.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to say, my parents got married really young. My mother was 15, my father was 16.
Yeah.
By the time she was 17, I was born. Whatever happened, they ended up not being together. But I grew up in this home with a lot of women in there, different types of abuse there. There was a lot of men bashing. Before going into foster care and later going to a great aunt that took care of me, I was told by my mother that my father was dead. I was about 5, that he had died, and they had burned every picture of him.
But when I became an adult, while I was still a child, Holy Spirit has
That sounds like abuse to me.
Lying to me. My father wasn't dead. So without any information, no picture of him, I prayed the Most High did allow me and my young adults to find my father. I just want to say, for me, what helped me not to be a man basher and be against men and want to be this independent woman and not even want a man to be in my life, it was my father. The Most High allowed me 6 years with my father before he passed on. And the relationship that I had with my father and what he gave me is what helped me.
Praise the Most High.
Knowing him gave me a respect for a man. It taught me how to speak to a man, you know, and how to be a humble woman towards him.
Well, sister, I'm glad you were able to.
I don't even have to know that.
Sister, no, I'm glad you were able to meet him and form your own understanding, your own relationship with him outside of others. And I'm glad the Most High gave you the opportunity for closure, because a lot of children grow up, never receive that closure. You have to thank the Most High for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he admitted some things to me. And what he did, the abuse that I had in home was never, the female, God, all respect to my mother, never apologized. But my father said to me, he said, I don't even deserve to be loved by you. He said, you asked me, did I search? He said, I didn't search. After a while, they kept saying, y'all didn't live there no more. And we were still there. He said, I didn't continue to search. I just stopped. He said, but God gave me another chance, and I'm going to live every moment until I leave here to make that up to you. And I apologize to you.
Man, praise the Most High.
So I didn't go up hating him like they wanted me to, saying he didn't care for me. Like you said, sir, I wanted to know him for myself, and I gave him that opportunity because I felt that if I could forgive my mother for all the abuse and all the stuff that happened to me, I had every right to forgive my father if he did abandon me.
All right, sister, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to put you on hold there. And there's a lot of noise came in, but I did get the gist of what she was saying. And I thank the Most High that he allowed her closure. And you know what I love, though? The fact that she didn't let the talk around her discourage those last moments she would have with her father. And to the point where a time came and the Most High seen it and the heavens worked together to allow her that opportunity that she'd been praying for all these years to one day meet him and hear him say, I'm sorry. man, praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Real quick, we only have 4 minutes. 205 area code. Come on. You're live. You're live. Shalom. Okay. We have Sister Queen from Texas. This will be the last phone call before we go into some of the texts, and we have a few more scriptures to bring forth. And we'll probably bring in brother, if we have time, brother Malcolm from Alaska. Shalom. How you doing, Sister Queen? You have 1 minute. Talk to us. How do we undo this curse of the masculine woman?
First of all, in the Christian church, they're really pushing feminism. They putting, like, male pastors are actually putting women on the front line, and they start out with this, well, they've been started out with different scenarios, but I noticed one big push was with Maxine Waters when we was having this political stuff, and then from there, it's like every congresswoman or woman that want to be in politics, the men are putting them on the front line because some of the males are saying, well, when men were out, you know, they were assassinated, they were killed, persecuted, lynched, or whatever it was. But women, they get persecuted, but they seem to let them live. So we're going to let the women lead.
Yo.
What scripture is that?
So that's one thing that's going on in Christianity.
Yo, that man. There's no stuff called Christianity, it's called Lucifers.
Yeah.
Let's come out straight. You with me? The head of the Christian church is Lucifer himself.
Yeah.
That's who the head of the church is.
Lucianity.
Lucianity
is what we're going to call it. Lucifernanity. What scripture is that, sister?
Where everything,
you know what?
They don't have no scripture, it's just their logic.
Yeah. I tell you what, the more they do that, the greater the work that Christ entrusted in us will grow. Because people who are fed up, brothers and sisters everywhere, are leaving these harlot houses called churches who are ran by these sick people, these unrepentant pagans. And then they're going to hold up Maxine Waters. She's been running around for how long? She's like the Baphomet with hair. All right, I'll place you on hold.
I do have another comment.
Yeah, come on with it.
Okay.
Talk to me.
It was a little bit touchy subject what you had said earlier, but I hear people saying it all the time.
It's only 2 minutes. Talk to me. You
especially the other elders. Okay, about women, not having children in their youth and they're waiting to their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
With me, and I know in the case with a lot of other women that I met,
1 minute.
That's not always the case. Like a lot of times we wanted to be married and have kids in our younger years, but it never happened.
Yeah.
So can you speak on that?
I'll speak on it. Well, what I'm saying is what I'm saying, and I said earlier before people came in, sister, is what I'm saying is don't apply across the whole board. We're giving you examples. Okay, there are outliners in every scenario. But you're saying speak to women who want to do right but don't have children.
Or that wanted to be married and have children in their younger years and it just never happened.
Why didn't it happen?
A lot of women have fertility issues, like you said with the vaccines and other issues. And then some just never meet the right man that wanted to give them kids or that was decent enough to have kids with.
Yeah. Well, those are some good points.
Avoid being a single parent.
Sister, those are some good points. All right, and I'm going to bring them up probably next week where we'll talk about the man and woman together. But right now, we're going to focus on undoing that curse of the masculine woman. Okay? All right, bless you. Great points. We only have 18 seconds. Soon Blog Talk is going to end and our focus will shift for the next 30 minutes to YouTube itself. No more phone calls. A matter of fact, you know what?
It's done now, isn't it? No.
That's how much recording is left, right?
I think it's gonna end right now. It's ended now.
It's ended now. So, but we're still here,
Thank
right?
you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. That's goodbye. That's what that is. All right. When they say goodbye, it's goodbye. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call Lawya in right now because I know Lawya have a few things to say. Yeah. And what I'll do for the next couple of minutes, I'm gonna put out the phone number that y'all can call me directly, and we'll talk. And is it the day is the day you came to be Lawya? You with me? Lawman.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, brother. How do we undo the curse of the masculine woman? And we're not talking about the WNBA right now. We're talking about we're actually talking about the women who are indirectly.
Can you still hear me? You still with me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Let me call Lawya up. One moment. No,
the Skype is on.
Yeah, the Skype is fine. You can't hear me, Lawya? Let me call Lawya back. 1 second. Let's see. Lawya. All right. Yeah. While Lawya's coming in, I want to introduce the fact that all praises be to the Most High. A lot of you can put it. Hold on, let me get in. Hold on. Okay, Lawya, you with me?
The internet cut out. 1 moment.
Okay, so it was you.
Yeah, it cut out on me maybe at least 4 times since I've been on the broadcast.
Okay.
So,
all right, don't worry about it. All right, real quick, before you come in, Lawya, because I know you have a lot to say, I want to introduce to you, our brothers and sisters, the new calendar, G.O.C.C. calendar, for the correct time of year and holy days. One God, one faith, one people. Our 2019 calendar that actually starts for the month of March. So you can order, put in your pre-orders, and it's absolutely amazing. What a work. What a work. The correct cycles of the holy days, you name it. On and on and on and on. right? Passover. And on top of that, at the end of the year, you'll have mementos in which you can actually take and frame and put around your house or your apartment for inspiration. Only $20. And it's one of the only calendars out there that have the correct days of the year. Your Jewish calendar don't have the correct days of the year. And unfortunately, a lot of Hebrews are using the Jewish calendar. So, exactly. You can also get it for, and I would suggest, like Shapad is mentioning, order this for your family as gifts, so that they can get on track with the holy days and have a serious grasp on the Bible holy days opposed to the pagan holy days. They don't know the difference. So give this as a memento or a gift to your family member to help them understand that there are holidays or holy days written for us in the Bible. Holy days the Christians aren't following, that are commanded by God actually in here. So if you would like to order this, go directly to our website, gatheringofchrist.org. Just click on the tab for the calendar, the 2019 Gathering of Christ Church calendar. You'll see the calendar and you'll be able to order it right from our site. A great work, right? Also, if you're interested in our Hebrew and Bible Academy, send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com, or you can go to historytimes.org, or, yes, go to gatheringofchrist.org, hit the tab for the Academy, and join. Great lessons you don't want to miss next week. And if you are a new participant or enrollee, guess what? We'll make sure, our administration team will make sure you receive all the lessons missed to catch up for the next 2 months. How's that? Be a part of the work. Come learn with the Gathering of Christ Church. All right. Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to us. How do we undo the curse of the masculine woman?
That's a very good question. And I think the first place I want to start is just referring to a scripture in the Apocrypha.
Okay.
And that's just in the book of Ecclesiastes, where it tells us, a wicked man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his way. And the reason why I bring up that scripture is because anytime we have topics such as this, either if we're speaking about men or if we're speaking about women, we allow excuses as to why we are a certain way or why we've become a certain way to get in the way of us actually fixing the problem and fixing the issue.
Exactly.
So as we sit down and have this conversation, we have to eliminate all of the excuses, all of those issues from the past that have led you up to this point where you feel like you must be a certain kind of way, think a certain kind of way, to act a certain kind of way. You have to eliminate that in order to be reproved, to be born again, and to move forward. Now, if the information we're bringing out tonight does not apply, then it doesn't apply. It's not for you. But if you know that some of the things that have been touched on tonight deal with you as an individual, and as we stated earlier, this is not about anyone personally. When we speak, we're speaking broadly. But if it applies to you individually, examine it. Re-listen to it, come back to it, and just figure out or find a way to overcome these particular things that we face as a nation, because it's imperative for all of us, men and women, to get on board with the Most High's program, if you will. Now, I'm going to read an example in the Bible, which should eliminate all excuses, okay? When it comes to the, usually when it comes to this conversation about women getting on board and submission and things of that nature, there's always an excuse. Well, hopefully this scripture will help eliminate a lot of those excuses. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25, and I'm going to jump around here, starting in verse number 2. In fact, I'll start in verse number 1. Again, I'll jump around. This is the story of David and Abigail. It says here, and Samuel died, and all the Israelites were gathered together and lamented him, and buried him in his house at Ramah And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. And there was a man in Maon whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great. And he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was a sharer of sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail. And she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. So this was a righteous and virtuous woman. But the man she was married to, as we're about to read, it tells us, it says, but the man, speaking about Nabal, was curlish. When you look up the word curlish, the word literally means abusive, severe, grievous, hard-hearted, impudent, and evil. Okay? So it says that Nabal was curlish, he was impudent or abusive, and evil in his doings. And he was of the house of Caleb. I'm jumping around here. When you read the story, David required, because this man had great substance, David wanted some of the substance of this man for his need. And the man refused. Okay? So when the man refused, when Nabal refused to give David what was necessary for his use, David sent young men to Abigail, Nabal's wife, and told him that, listen, David wants to kill your husband. So it says here in verse number 14, but one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed them. But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything as long as we were conversant with them. When we were in the fields, they were on the wall unto us both by day and night, all the while we were keeping the sheep. Now therefore, know and consider what thou wilt do, for evil is determined against our master, and against all his household, for he is such a son of Belial, that a man cannot speak to him. So this is how evil Nabal was. This is how unreasonable he was. So it says that evil was coming upon his house, meaning David was sending men to kill Nabal and to destroy his house because of this man's wickedness. Now let's see what his wife did. His wife allowed this to happen, saying that this man is wicked, he's evil, he's abusive, he's all these things. She could have allowed David and his men to come and destroy him. But let's see what Abigail did. Verse 18 says, then Abigail made haste and made 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine, and 5 sheep ready, dressed, and 5 measures of parched corn, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on donkeys. And she said unto her servants, go on before me, behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal. And it was so, as she rode on the donkey, that she came down by the covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. And David had said, surely in vain have I kept all this that this fellow hath in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed in all that pertained unto him. And he have requited me of evil for good.
Okay.
Right. So getting to the point, this woman, in order to protect her husband and the household, went before David and gave him, food and gave him good grace and so on and so forth, just to show an example of, regardless of the situation you're in, whether the man, he may be evil, he may be unrighteous, he may not want to follow the Most High, it's not an excuse to go against the order and structure that the Most High set in place. Because eventually, the Most High moved Nabal out of the way. And then Abigail ended up marrying King David.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a small example to show that regardless of the situation, if you do what the Most High requires of you as a woman, then the Most High, in the end, if you have an evil man that doesn't want to repent, eventually the Most High will move him out the way the same way he moved Nabal out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I want to leave it there, of course, for the sake of time. There's other things, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Real quick, Elder Lawya, before we open it up with the chat, and any of you would like to say anything, I'll be more than happy to let you all come in. I wanted to drop this real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sister was asking, well, what about their situations, the scenarios in which a young girl wants to grow up, but yet society dictates a different path in which she cannot have children or be married or whatever the case might be. A woman is barren, being that, believe it or not, the healthcare system is targeting the woman's, especially the minority woman, the black woman's reproduction organs. From the time they're born, they're looking to sterilize the women, right? Now, you have to be, the answer to that is you have to avoid the healthcare system, and when it comes to the vaccines and the things that are destroying us from youth. We have to do that and begin to what? Eat right, pray to the Most High. You understand? Connect with the Most High, and what He'll do is He'll bless your womb and make you what? Fruitful instead of barren. Look how long our mother Sarah had to go without having a child. You're talking about what? 90 years. Rebecca couldn't have no children. Up to the age of our father Isaac was what? 60 years old. So we have to be patient when it comes to that. And I'm going to say this, sisters, and I know it's hard with the peer pressure and all and what's going on in this earth, and when it comes to men. Okay, of course we have to get it together first. That's an earnest. But sisters, don't sell yourself short. Don't believe that you have to relegate your virtue to be accepted. Don't sell yourself short to someone who you know is not going to be there down for you and down with the Most High. You have to be patient and be chaste in virtue and wait and be patient. And in due time, the Most High will send that right person. Okay. I wanted to put this out there real quick. I want to say this real quick. And I guess we'll deal with that more so next week. I don't have enough time for it. But I want to say this, right? A big hot button topic out there that I'm seeing right now, right, is that, and people want us to talk about it. Black guys out choosing other races of people, preferring them over their own sisters, whom they've grown up amongst. Why are they choosing other races of people outside of their own people? And sisters are looking to have to do extra to compete. Well, that's the problem right there. You don't have to compete with nobody. No one. You weren't born into a competition. Don't think it. Don't be subjected to it. Okay? We have to look to serve the Most High first. And under His acceptance, grow virtue. You understand? Let Him send that guy that's right. Okay? Keep in mind. Let me read this real quick. Where my apocrypha at real quick? Pass me that apocrypha. Let me read this real quick. I'm in Ecclesiasticus real quick. Stick with me. I can read it better than I can explain it right now. Listen to this. Ecclesiasticus 26. Because I'm going to tell you what the system is trying to do. The system, believe it or not, have succeeded to some degree in poisoning our communities to the degree in which now they can place a camera anywhere in an attempt to embarrass our people. That's what they're doing now. And make it, guess what? And I know a lot of sisters aren't the example of what we see on World Star Hip Hop and YouTube acting a fool and all that. But guess what? They're the only women this system is willing to put out there and give exposure. Okay, let me say that right now. So sisters, you're gonna have to fight extra, understanding how these evil perceptions are being put out there on you. And it first starts with what? Not dealing with the peer pressure of the people around you. Connecting with the Most High. Asking the Most High for forgiveness. And then at that point, asking the Most High to use you as a sign and example for virtue. Now listen to this real quick. You good?
Yeah,
looking for your phone? Yeah. Okay, it's around here somewhere. Let me read this real quick. Ecclesiasticus 26. Blessed is the man who hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double. Right? This man ain't looking to die. All right? This guy will live a long age. Why? Because he's living with a pillar of rest.
That's right.
Without stress.
Mm-hmm.
He looked forward to his relationship with his wife. Right? A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband. Rejoiceth her husband. And he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given to the portion of them that fear the Lord. A lot of women wondering, well, what's going on in my relationship? Why things aren't working and all that? We're choosing people who don't care nothing about the Most High God, folks. We're dealing with atheists and are disappointed when the relationship falls or fails due to a life without commitment and spirituality. Listen to what I'm saying here. And I see so many sisters be looking at these football players and saying why they choosing these people. Sisters, a good woman don't want these people anyway. Those people. All you see is the money and the prestige. It's miserable. They live in miserable lives, fornicating evil and wicked lives. You should be glad they were moved from you. You understand? I see somebody says why the basketball players and why they choosing other people and all that. Sisters, a virtuous woman don't want anyone like that. A guy out there who may have anyone on their arm but have a different woman every night. You want that life? What you want is a righteous man. But guess what? A righteous man is given to a virtuous woman.
Mm-hmm.
See? It's not, well, I'm going to wait till I find the right man to become virtuous. That's backwards thinking. Your virtue must come first. Because now the Most High will have the angels work on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And answer that prayer of a good man. Listen to this. Whether a man be rich or poor. Why do Ecclesiastes say a man be rich or poor? When a woman meets a man, what's the first thing the girlfriends ask her? What work he have? Do he have money?
Uh-huh.
So now you're embarrassed to say that you probably met a poor guy, but you know within him, because you know this guy, he has something in him. He has an ambition that's greater than just what you would call material things. But no one can see that. How many times someone had been in a relationship with a good guy, a woman, he didn't have anything. You let this guy go and he actually fulfilled what you knew what was in him.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. And because your girlfriends at that time said he don't have anything, why you with this nothing guy, T around the corner, T-bone selling drugs and all that, you should do something. Look at you, you're going to waste your body with this poor guy? But you seen something in him and listened to them. You listened to them. That's why the Bible says, whether that man be rich or poor, sisters, don't deal with just the status. As long as he have the bare necessities, he's not on drugs, he have some level of morality and love the Most High. You understand? He may not have everything together yet. But that's why the Most High sent Adam a what? A help meet. You see what's in him and help fulfill it. See? Whether a man be rich or poor. Listen, I'm in Ecclesiastes 26. If he have a good heart toward the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. I'm in the Apocrypha. There be 3 things that mine heart feareth, and the 4th I was so afraid. The slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude, and a false accusation. All these are worse than death. But a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman. That's one of the things the Most High don't like. When other women point to other women and say, well, listen, well, other women do that. The Most High is against that. Or, look at our brothers out there with that. You shouldn't be jealous over nothing. Okay? You shouldn't be jealous over nothing. You are who the Most High made you. And if a person don't appreciate that or see that, they don't deserve you. Don't let that turn you with a jealous eye, sisters, and then try to become something else that's impossible. See that? I hear so much out there where sisters say, well, you can't say nothing or correct anyone because they'll say, well, white girls do it too. So what's the answer to that? Because they do evil? Because they're doing wickedness? Mm-hmm. It's okay for you to do it?
Who cares what white girls
Who cares what they do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, white girls say that too. What? What does that have to do with anything? Mm-hmm. See? It's confusion. And that's why the Lord tell you, listen, sisters, don't be looking at other sisters and all that and saying and think you're not good enough because what you have is lustful eyes and people that will not make it through anyway, chasing lust and become jealous or upset because they're choosing the world over virtue. They don't deserve you. Mm-hmm. Listen to what I'm saying here. And a false accusation. All these are worse than death. Right? Listen to this real quick. But a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman, and a scourge of the tongue which communicated with all. Now you're letting everyone else see your insecurities. That's even worse than what's in your heart concerning the jealousy. You're wearing it with how you look and everything you say. Listen to this. An evil wife is shaken to and fro, and he that have hold on her as though he held a scorpion. Mm-hmm. A drunken woman, that's a woman that every time you look, she want to go out partying. Mm-hmm. That means if she's at the end of the bar at a club somewhere, 5 years later she'll be in that same spot. I know, I grew up in North Philly. It's to the point where the bar owner reserves the seat, and if he sells the bar, he'll let the new owner know that's Cheryl's seat. A drunken woman and a gatter abroad, a woman that talks all of her business, cause of great anger. Mm-hmm. And she will not cover her own shame. How many women, like, who's that comedian out there? The female one? Yeah. Yeah, something Haddish. I don't even look at that crap.
Tiffany Haddish.
What's her name? Tiffany Haddish. Why do you think Why do you think Hollywood is pushing Tiffany Haddish as the example of perception of black women? Every person everywhere believes that's who you are. Every sister in the world need to stand up and march against Tiffany Haddish. She's everything the Bible tell men to avoid.
Mm-hmm. No shame.
Okay. A drunken woman in a gatherer abroad cause of great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
That's right.
A real woman, okay, is not going to take a picture next to a mirror and put it on Snapchat for likes.
Booty pics.
Yeah.
Looking backward.
Yeah.
Just go backward.
Yeah, hands on the bed looking backward. That's not becoming anyone virtue.
Mm-hmm.
And what God looking at that saying, yeah,
I want that for wife. Some mad dude.
I mean, you might as well go and find the nearest dumpster and embrace it.
You know, I always hear when a woman say, "Oh,
yeah,"
but not because I'm not a whore because I dress like that." But okay, then when I see a policeman in uniform, right, I identify the policeman, the fireman.
Yeah,
everybody wears a uniform.
Oh, that's what Dave Chappelle said.
Oh yeah, did he?
Yeah, Dave Chappelle had a skit. He says, "Listen, I don't know if you're that, but you're sure wearing that uniform." Right.
So it
Yeah, but check out the other side of it though. Because I think women look at the attention some of these women get and become jealous for no reason. If anything, that's the hook and bait that's luring all the guys that you don't want away from you. Okay? They're helping you. Any guy that want that, you don't say, well, I got to become that to get a man. Because that's what he's looking at. No, that's what he's looking at. That's what he wants. That's the Most High letting you know who you shouldn't pursue. See? Are you following me here? Listen to this. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. If thy daughter, check this out. Listen to this here.
Go ahead.
If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly. If you know you got a daughter, growing up, they used to say, that girl is going to be a hot one. That girl going to be hot in the pants. You have the sister, everyone talk about the aunts and everything. If you know you got a daughter that's looking at guys early, the Bible says do what? Keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and drink every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. But listen, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband. You notice how the righteous and the virtue comes with not just what she do alone, but that virtuous contribution with a husband. See, and that's what the Most High is looking down on and finding pleasure in, the family. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. Silent, listen to this. Silent and loving women is a gift of the Lord. There's no way anyone should take any solace, or I would call as a badge of honor, saying, yeah, I know I got a little mouth butt. What? Oh, you just setting me up, you just prepping for the fight. Well, I know I may have a little mouth. And it's a shame that the stereotype is there. Why is it that everyone else argues? Why is it sisters are known for what? To talk. But it's okay to use your power of virtue and do more thinking than talking. It's okay. No one has to say every thought that comes to mind. That's a virtue, sisters. That's a practice virtue that will actually help undo the curse and allow you to get a lot of what you thought you were missing all these years. By just sometimes not saying nothing at all. Mm-hmm. The moment will pass.
Silence is golden.
Listen, silence is golden. A silent and loving woman is what? Is a gift from the Most High. And there is nothing more worth as a mind well instructed. Look at this here. I'm reading this in the Apocrypha, brothers and sisters, in Ecclesiasticus. It's in the Bible. And you guess what? They're telling us in the Christian churches that the Apocrypha is heretical and Christians shouldn't read it.
Yeah.
You know why they don't want you to read this?
Lucianity.
The Luciferian, demonic Jezebels in the churches would have to take a seat and become silent and allow the man to do his will and duty in this earth, thus saith the Most High. That's why they don't want this book in there. This book showing us the difference between a virtuous woman and what this world calls a thought. Guess what this book does? It draws a line between the two. And on top of that, brothers and sisters, it allows each person, man and woman, to make a self-observation and an examination of themselves according to wisdom. Satan's world. This world can't have that. Where you can actually look at this and say, you know what? I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I didn't know that the Bible identified it or the Apocrypha identified it distinctly.
I think it was last week you brought it out that this book will turn, if you never knew how to be a man, this book will turn you into a man.
Exactly. It gives you the wisdom of life.
Just right off of the cuff. No book on the earth does that.
Yeah. Every Christian church, if a woman pastor can't teach this chapter I just read and not sit down and not find a man to pastor that church. Right? Because what? They try to blame the man. I'm speaking of this world. They try to blame the man. Right? For why they're in a man's position. You notice that?
Yep.
Well, men ain't stepping up to the plate. Well, sit down and see if a man, how can he step to the plate when you're sitting in the seat? How do you know he's not stepping to the plate? Sit down. And I'm speaking to these woman pastors out there. Don't try to claim there's no man around and that's why you had to take pastorship. Sit your behind down in these Christian churches and see won't a man step up. And I got to give credit to sisters who can accept this truth, who are a part of the church, who are Israelites, because why? It takes a level of humility and relegating of some level of power you would normally get in this world to be a part of the work. And those sisters should be commended. It's not easy giving up all the power you've received in this world to a man. Okay. But you know what?
Praise the Most High.
Exactly. Praise the Most High. You will be rewarded, sisters.
Mm-hmm.
You will be. All right. I'm going to open up the lines for 5 minutes, and I'm going to let you call in. Right? You with me, Elder Lawya?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, Elder Lawya, before we do that. I noticed that the mainstream media now, is that your phone, Lawya?
I think so, yeah. Dropped.
Something is going on here. As soon as I say Lawya, he went. Hold on.
Yep, I'm out.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I noticed that Israelites have been in the news lately, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You notice that?
Yes, sir.
And you notice it's with their narrative. They're trying to spin this thing that happened in Washington, D.C. on some steps with some so-called white guys with hats that say, let's make America great again, along with the so-called North American Indian that we found out was an actor.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that weren't acting there were the Israelites. But now they're trying to spin things for legislation they're going to pass soon against Israelites. And we're going to get in front of this. Because why bring this to light when it comes to Israelites? Where was your where was your interview with Kendrick Lamar last year when he came out with Israelites in his album? Mm-hmm. Where was your international press on Israelites when Kendrick Lamar was in the spotlight talking about it? But yet they want to spin the Israelites talking about white people and saying all things against white people as if that's the example of what an Israelite is, out of context. You know what? We're going to talk about that next week. We're going to show you this guy was an actor and that whole thing was staged. The only people that weren't part of the production were the Israelites. I'm going to bring that next week. On top of that, no, I'm going to say that. I'm not going to put it out there. Okay, because I'm not going to put it out there yet, but you haven't heard the end of this Israelite thing. You understand? And we're going to have something to say on that quite soon. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, Josh, on that. All right. Let me put out the number real quick, and I'll answer calls for 5 minutes. Okay? 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Happy blessed day, Gaja.
Hey, thanks.
All right? Let's do it. The number is 215-253-4448.
Oh, yes. Before you do that, Elder, just a quick announcement.
Okay, don't call yet. Go ahead, Elder Lawya.
Sir, it's a quick announcement on behalf of Elder Gabar. He will be in Minnesota on Friday, February 8th, 2019. So for those in the Minnesota area, if you are seeking to fellowship and to come together, he will be in Minnesota again, Friday, February 8th, 2019.
Okay, so Elder Gaja will be in Minnesota this weekend, right?
Elder Gabar.
Elder Gabar.
Right.
Elder Gabar will be in Minnesota this weekend, and if you're interested, send an email to what?
Not this weekend, February 8th.
February 8th. Okay, so where can we send the information, Elder Lawya?
Okay, you can send an email to GOCCNYC@yahoo.com or
Great.
GOCCNYC@gmail.com.
Great. I'm going to place you on hold, Lawya. Let me answer some of these calls. Shalom, you're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. We're only going to be a few moments. Talk to me.
Shalom, elders. I'm so happy to have you guys in my life. I'm new to the Israelites,
And I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. And of course, this does have to do with subject. I'm going to stay on subject. But as a single female, newly single, wondering how to stay in the church and looking for someone to follow and someone, you know what I'm saying, to be able to talk to and associate with.
Okay.
What is your take on
Over
that?
there. Okay, first of all, are you in a specific church right now, sister?
We've spoken before, and no, I'm in a situation where I'm in a city that does not have, I'm in Texas, but I'm 600 miles away from the nearest.
Okay, what part of
church,
Texas?
either way.
What part of Texas are you in here?
I'm in El Paso, Texas.
El Paso. Okay, I'm gonna take your number. We'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
with you. But in a nutshell, we noticed that this is what we don't do, sister. We don't. If three guys call us from an area,
yes,
what we don't do is send shirts to that area and say we have a church there.
Of course,
Okay?
yes, sir.
Let me get that. What we do is we work with the regional elders in that specific area, and the body of Texas will establish a church in your area or help accommodate you as much as we can until one is there. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So
sir.
One moment. This is what we can do. Let me have your, because this is what happens. If we're not in a specific area and there's a few shirts in that area, we have found this to be true. They will join other Israelite groups and then come to find out that the doctrine isn't what they learned with the Gathering of Christ Church. A lot of these people...
Yes, sir, and that's what I don't want to happen.
Exactly.
I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to be associated with anyone else. This is where I'm at, and this is where I'm staying.
Exactly, because they come to find out these churches, even if they got Christ in their name, they don't even baptize in the name of Christ. So how can you have Christ in the title of your church and don't baptize?
Amen.
And that's the first thing he did before his ministry. So, so sister, let me write down your number. Let me have your name.
My name is Annette.
Okay. And what we're going to do this spring, if the Lord permit, the Most High permit, we're going to have a few revivals in certain areas where the whole Texas can come out and we can conversate, get together. You understand? Link you up with the church, the whole nine. Let me have your name again.
Annette.
Annette.
My name, yes, Annette.
Okay. All right, Sister Annette. Okay, Texas.
And I am saving my name because I have changed my name, but I'm not going to use that name until I am fully baptized. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. I'll tell you what I'll do, Annette. I'll give your number to our regional elder, Ramar, and he'll give you a call, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and blessings to all of you. Thank you, Elder, for everything.
You're welcome. Thank you. Now, do you want to answer the question on how do we fix? Well, I guess how we fix, we get baptized. How we fix?
We get baptized.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go. All right. All right, thank you, sister. I'm sorry about that. Let's go to 404 area code. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. Talk to me.
Hi, my name is Victoria, and I'm calling from Atlanta. And I was going to say, I didn't realize that I was suffering from the curse of the masculine woman until I lost my job recently, and I was like afraid of my husband, you know, taking on all like the bills and all the major responsibilities. And then that's when I realized that I was like out of line and out of place. And so like I started praying and asking God for guidance and just, you know, to kind of help me with that issue. And now that he's like taking care of everything and he's over everything, my husband is the he I'm referring to, he's actually managing things a whole lot better than I ever could have. So it was just, you know, me not trusting and believing in the Most High as much as I should have been. And now I think my biggest struggle now is like with complete submission, and so like listening to this sermon tonight is definitely helping me with that.
Hold up, sister. Let's talk about that real quick. What you mean your problem is with complete submission? Let's drop. Let me preference this correctly now. What part of submitting to your husband is the problem?
It's not that I don't want to submit or whatever, but like, so when I came in this truth, I came in it like by myself, and my husband, he's not completely in the truth, but he definitely listens and follows what some of the, like, whatever you guys are saying or whatever, and we're with him being like somewhat in the world a little bit.
Okay.
That part is hard.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to ask you the question again.
Okay.
At what part of the relationship you having the struggle submitting? At what area?
Because I want him to submit to the Most High. So when I submit, I won't be. Go ahead.
Okay, so you don't have no problem with submission to him. You're just frustrated that you're in it and he's yet to come around.
Yes.
Okay. Well, just pray for him. But keep in mind, sister, no brother out there feels comfortable with their wife or their woman getting information from another man. And guess what? I understand that completely. Okay? Because eventually what a man will feel is, listen, when I drop some law up in my house, you're not going to call this guy where I'm paying rent at to get advice on it on my house. So you have to understand that male thing that's going on too. You understand? So but be patient with him. He's listening more than you know. You understand? Just be patient with him. Don't try to force anything on him. Continue to submit. You do what's right, and I tell you, the Most High will bring him around. I've heard many stories where sisters said the same thing you said, or the husband who are teachers now and say, listen, I came in because of my wife. I had brothers say that I didn't like you at first. Every time the computer was open, I seen your face. So, all right. So hey, let's be real. And you know what? That's a real man. Like, listen, ain't no other man giving my woman advice. But you can let him know. But let him know I counsel for him. I counsel so that your relationship can work and that he can stand in his right position as a man. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elder. I really appreciate you for everything that you do. And thank you so much for your guidance.
All right. Thank you. Bless you, sister. Thanks for calling.
You too.
All right. All right. Talk to me. 219. I'm going to take two more calls. Anything you want to say, you can say. I'm going to bring a lawyer back in after that. Mm-hmm. Two more calls and that's it. Talk to me.
So, okay.
You want?
Shalom. I just wanted to say that I think that we have to acknowledge when the Spirit came in. I know for me personally, it came in for me when I was a little girl, when my dad would tell me that I should be in the kitchen cooking with the women, and I would rebel against him.
That was some good advice
all the time.
That was some good advice.
Excuse me?
I say that was some good advice. You didn't feel abused, did you?
No, I didn't. I was the youngest of two boys, and I just felt like, no, I'm going to stay in here and watch the game. Like, I don't want to do that just because I was just rebelling against my father, I feel. And I loved my father. I still love my dad, but I was... That's good. A daddy's girl. I just wanted to be under him. I didn't want to necessarily do something just because I didn't like the sound of this is what a woman should do. And I regretted it once I got older and I had my own children. and I was operating my own household. I burned food for a
Lord
month.
have mercy.
And their
sister,
dad was so patient. with me.
Sister, let me give some insight from a man's perspective, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I believe that sisters in this world think that if they're shaped a certain type of way or they look a certain type of way, they'll be able to keep a man. And let me drop this out there for everyone. Where I grew up at, 99.9% of the women had shapes and got nice. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So men don't even look at it like that to the degree in which I'll stay with you forever if you have a shape. That's natural growing up where we grew up at.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point where you get used to a woman the way she is, and you're looking for other attributes outside of how she looks. That's only the bait for the initial conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if now when you get to know her and try to find out her background, whether or not she has goals in life spiritually with the Most High, whether or not she has gifts outside of her body, or we found that some women invest everything in how they look and are shallow. And then after that, on top of that, never read a book in their life. And then on top of that, don't know how to cook.
Problems.
Let me tell you what happens in that scenario. 9 times out of 10, and you don't know how to cook, and you got these men who are from down south, their mama cook, their grandmama cook, and you say, let me tell you, sister, the outward appearance will take you absolutely nowhere if you don't know how to burn like mama burn, like grandmama burn.
That's something that's
why?
with us.
And because these sisters, you had a lot of sisters who saying, I'm single, this, that, and the other, and I got it all, I look good. Why? Why I can't keep a man or whatever the case is? Because they invested most of their time on the outward appearance, on the outside, without building substance. Without building substance, sister. No one cares about whether or not you work on the building on the 20th floor, or whether you're behind a bank clerk, the bank clerk working in a bank. No, according to this world, you have succeeded. But if you don't know how to scramble eggs, that's a problem with a man. That's not success. That's failure. And a lot of sisters don't realize that because they say, I got the whole package. No, you don't. Because the package you got, every other woman growing in the hood have that package. You're going to have to come with something outside of your flesh to get a good man.
That's right.
And I'll tell you this, when a woman really know how to cook it up and make it right, let me tell you, I don't care what that guy's thinking. He's like, you know what? If I don't come back for nothing but another meal, I'm hanging out here. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
All right,
it took me a month to get cooking right.
Yeah.
And I was able to reflect on my parents a lot in my relationships and how they were and how our household ran so smoothly because I had 2 parents with very, very strong, aggressive personalities, but they did not argue. They argued maybe 3 times that I can remember that I heard. And they didn't allow us to divide the household. So I couldn't go ask my mom something and then ask my dad. That was like very forbidden in our house. And it was something that was wrong in my household as I got in my late 20s and I discovered that it wasn't correct. It wasn't the true order that I was raised in, and it wasn't biblical. But I took on the masculine mentality and like feminist mentality. The more I became worldly, everything I saw on TV, the woman was a well-kept woman, but she had nannies, she had cooks, she had this, she had that, and it was just like all glamorized, and all the woman did.
Hey, sister, let me tell you. Let me drop this on you, and I'm going to ask you one question before it's over. The weakest women that I see that I've noticed online, on TV, or other people, women aspire to be. The weakest women are the women I see on these so-called housewife shows. They're the weakest women. They're the weakest example of a woman on earth. And it has nothing to do with how much money they have. It has nothing to do with any of that. You rarely see any of them walking as virtuous women.
Fake everything.
Yeah, and every other minute they cursing each other out and got tats from head to toe. And it's. Let me take the next call. But sister, let me ask you this before I take the next call real quick. Obviously, you found out that you were operating or walking in some level of masculinity, and you began to change. You learned how to cook, right?
Yes, I love cooking. I cook all of my children's meals. I cook their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I do not believe in anything boxed or anything of that at all.
That's right.
Good. Praise the Most High. And sister, understand this. A shamefaced, quiet woman.
It's double grace.
And also, on top of that, a woman with virtue is a double grace with the Most High. Okay? That's how a woman gains points with the Most High. It's not falling to the peer pressure of this world and walking and respecting the position of virtuous. Thank you, sister.
Shalom.
Shalom. Let me get the next call here. I'm going to get one more call, then that's going to be it. Oh, I think that's it. Huh. Well, we have a few that was missed. Let me get some that. Oh, here they go. Last call. Lord have mercy. Shalom, you're live. You're live. Gather to Christ Church, talk to me. How do we undo the curse of a masculine woman?
Oh my goodness. I didn't expect to get through. I'm watching it live. Let me turn it down.
All right, take your time. Take your time. Hey, we have sisters breaking the curse. All praise be to the Most High. All right. They breaking the curse.
Elder Rawchaa.
Talk to me.
So I am one of those sisters that suffer from the curse being masculine. You go through stuff when you're a child, being taken advantage of, being abused. And, I related to why women act that way, or why we seek like thugs and gangsters because we need protection. But you also become very hard on the outside as well. My thing right now is because I'm married already. I have 7 children, and my husband was brought up by a strong woman and no man in the house. So we're both suffering together.
Hey, sister, what is this strong woman you talking about? I hear this term all the time. What's that?
When I was younger, I'd seen it as strong, but really was just hardened.
Okay, great. All right, go on. That's a better word.
Yeah, I was more hardened.
Because I'm saying it's because we have to break sisters celebrating with that term. Celebrating that dysfunction.
The more I'm learning from you all, the more I've learned that I'm very weak, and I'm having to go to the Most High for strength, and I'm going to Him for strength about everything. I'm actually a very weak person who's trying to be strong through the Most High. It's a total relearning.
Hey, sister, you know what? Sister, you know what you just did? You know what you just did there?
No.
And this is showing your strength, though. Not too many people will say straight out that they're weak. And I'm going to tell you, that's an asset right there. Because the Bible says, give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. And admitting right out that, okay, I don't have it all. I do need help. Is showing that you're willing to play your part in what? in your purpose of how God made you, because you're not supposed to have it all. You're supposed to have that with your husband. See?
Right.
The Most High put that attribute in a woman to desire her husband. You understand?
Well, what do you do? What do you do coming out of that, and then my husband being brought up as a more feminine because his mom is?
Well, he wasn't brought up feminine. He was brought up more what you would call a passive man, having a woman as the only example.
Right.
Okay. And therefore,
I don't know if he recognizes that, because I watch more. I was laughing a while ago because I am that wife where every time he comes into the room, I'm watching you all.
Yeah.
And you know, he hasn't really fully recognized that he fits that passive man description.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I don't want him to feel attacked by me bringing it to his attention.
Listen, well, I don't believe, when I say passiveness, it's just the fact that whoever you are raised around, that person becomes your educator, and you'll pick up the attributes of whomever is guiding, raising you, right? So let's deal with it this way. In order for him to break that phenomenon is to be amongst other men like in our church. Where are you located?
I'm in Georgia, in Dallas, Georgia. It's about an hour and a half away from Atlanta.
Okay, one moment.
Okay.
All right.
You know, this is a prayer answered. We're fighting right now. He's downstairs in the basement. We've been talking about divorce. We have 7 children.
Okay, what's the fight about?
These kind of things, like him not coming into the truth, or just me I need him to lead us. You know, we have 2 boys who's 15 and 12. They're coming into learning how to be young men.
Okay,
and
but
I guess I'm trying to hurry him along.
Okay,
you know, I'm trying to make him.
No, sister, you can't do that.
I know.
You can't do that. Okay. You have to realize how it took you a while to come around, and it may take him a while, especially, you know, he's a loving man. He cares for his family. Don't let this break your family up. That means you receive this truth for what?
You're right.
No, don't do that. What's more important, your family is your truth. Your husband is your truth. Okay, so just let him know. Listen, I'm not gonna force anything on you. I apologize. You know me. Let him know that you're passionate with it. You know this is the truth. Blah, blah, blah. Let him know that, and say, but listen, I just want you to lead me. I don't have to listen to that guy online. I don't have to listen to the Gathering of Christ Church. I don't have to do any of that. I need you to lead me. And let him know that you're willing to submit to that. Okay?
Okay.
And believe it or not, we'll probably see you by Passover if you take these steps. You and him.
I plan on being there. It's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, in Augusta this year. It's going to be nice this year. Yeah. All right? So
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, sister, go make up.
I will.
All right.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. I tell you what, the Most High is healing our people. I tell you that. He's really working with our brothers and sisters together. Mm-hmm. It's like we all are tired of this evil paradigm. I'm hearing myself in an echo. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, okay. I got to go to the next call, right?
Okay.
All right. Bless you. I'm only taking one more call for real. Gathering of Christ Church, last call.
Shalom.
Talk to me.
Elder, I am one of the kids that came up during the Women's Lib, women burning the bras and so forth and so on. my mom had 6 sisters, including herself. There were 7 girls. All of them were married. All of them divorced. So it was indoctrinated within the girls.
Lord have mercy.
To marry a man, get your kids, and get rid of the man.
And then bounce.
No longer need a man from that point.
Okay,
so there was a lot of girls that grew up in my family, a lot of girl cousins. Out of all the girl cousins, aunts, I was the only one that remained married. And we've been married for 35 years. But within that time, I knew what I wanted as far as my husband. I enjoyed being with him. But my family was pushing for me to walk away. Okay, you've been successful, you have your own business. Why is he still around? And mind you, this came from my mom.
Lord have mercy. Wow. Woo! Boy, this is fire right here.
Around? So the family would have talks, and they would tell my mom, you need to talk to your daughter. And so she would bait me up, come sit and let's talk mother and daughter. And she would tell me to get rid of him.
Hold up, sister. I need some sisters to talk to me. How often do this go on in our communities? I believe this sister is bringing to light an element that men didn't know exist on this level. Where,
yes, sir.
Hold up, sister. This level is, we know you're going to divorce him. You just need him as a donor for children because you're already successful. But when you get those children, you need to kick him to the curb.
Yes, sir.
You know what? There's a lot of this going on, but not too many people are willing to break the silence on this. This is a conspiracy I'm hearing. Come on, go ahead, bring it.
So, but my husband and I, we remained together.
Good.
And although the family would talk about me, but in spite of the love that my husband and I had for one another and the mutual respect and the strength that we had together, that is what kept us together. Regardless of the whispering, the backbiting, we are a strong force to be reckoned with together.
Oh my goodness. Do you hear this? So you mean to tell me even if your husband didn't do anything wrong, the women of your family would come together and conspire to rid you, to rid him of you, or vice versa?
Yes.
Let me ask you.
So they look at me.
No, go ahead.
I am treated as if I am better than them. They come together and they have a discussion about my household because by golly, we gonna do what the Lord say irregardless. And so they talk against us. But I'm good because I'd rather have the blessings than the curses.
Hey, sister, you know what would be nice?
Yes, sir.
You need to have one. You need to all invite them to a nice party with all of them. Make sure everyone there, the whispers are there, and say, "Listen, y'all. Tonight, while you witnessing this, my husband and I is now going to reconfirm our vows." No, just act like you're going to play some cards or something. Bring them over. Then tell them you got some hors d'oeuvres. Bring them over. Let them know. Just a little get together.
Those witches are no longer welcome in my home.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord.
I've done that.
Woo! This is a show in itself, ain't it?
Now I have cut the umbilical cord.
Let me tell you.
We were, yes, sir.
This thing is getting so heated. I wanted to. I don't know when to end. I got to end this. But sister, I'm glad you brought this out. You know why? Because you're breaking the silence. It's because what you're bringing out confirms what I mentioned earlier, is that there's a pact with women, and in this pact, the silence is rarely broken. It's like a mafia almost. And if you go against the Donna, not the Don, you go against the Donna. You can be ostracized.
Yes. And I'm living proof of that.
And cut off from the family.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Yeah. Well, this is deep in itself. Well, sister, I'm glad you stayed strong, because guess what? You're the real example of what a strong woman is.
Amen.
Exactly. And each day you live with your husband shines a light on that darkness they call a home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sör. It's real.
Oh, it's real. Hey, it's real. Well, I know we got calls coming in after calls. You know what? I'm going to start doing this too. I'm going to start doing this where I'll just call and let them call in. Well, the show ends now. Okay? I sister, I'm going to put you on hold, and I hope to see you soon when we're in your area, okay?
Yes, sir, you will.
All right, bless you. Shalom.
Blessings.
Shalom.
Hey, you know what? Oh, my goodness. Hey, one more call. One more, that's it. Last one.
Well, I know we got calls coming in after calls. You know what? I'm going to start.
Hello?
Last one. You the last call. Come on, sister.
Hi. Oh wow, I got in. My name is Cheryl. I'm calling from Georgia.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank you for your show. I've been watching your show for the last couple months. I've only been in the truth for about 6 months, but it's really helping me.
Okay. Praise the Most High.
I'm divorced. I'm divorced. I've been divorced about 10 years, and after seeing this tonight, I really realized a couple of things that I need to change in my life concerning, having more of a masculine woman type energy. I have 4 sons that I've been raising by myself since my divorce, and still raising them. And I guess I had a little question too. When you're a single woman and you're taking on all the responsibilities of a man, as far as maintaining a home, maintaining the income, and working on a job and everything, how is it to be set apart from that type of, spirit? Because it's really hard not to be masculine. Even if you look feminine on the outside, it's hard not to have that masculine approach to things when you're taking care of everything.
Was it always that way, sister?
For me, I believe it's always been like that. I grew up in a single parent home, and my mother.
So this is what we're speaking is a generational curse here.
Yeah. I was by myself with her. She did everything, and I watched her do everything. And growing up, I thought that was I looked at it as
normal.
Normal or a good thing, because I never wanted for anything, and I wanted the same for my sons. I didn't think I'd be single raising 4 sons, but I knew I had set that out. I was like, well, they aren't going to want for anything either. But I later on learned, and especially as I came into the truth, that was very harmful to me, because I had opportunities to have relationships with men, but they didn't work out, and I didn't realize I was being that way at the time.
I understand. Where's the children's father?
He's in California. Yeah, we got divorced, and he moved back to California, and I moved home to Georgia, and we've been in Georgia ever since. And he sees them. He's been in and out of their life. He's also been in and out of incarceration. So
how long ago? How long ago?
10 years.
10 years?
We got divorced 10 years ago.
Okay, so I guess he went on at this point.
Yeah, he's moved on. He's moved on. He hasn't gotten remarried, but he's had other relationships and children and things like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If he ain't with nobody, he probably want to go back and get him.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
All right.
I pray to the Most High, because I do desire a husband, but a lot of times I struggle with feeling worthy and inadequate in that department. I see other women do it, and it seems like they do it so easily. It comes naturally to them.
Hey, sister, listen, You are worthy. You are worthy. Once you put it all, like we've mentioned this in the church over and over growing up, you have to put it all on the cross, and that's real. Don't look back, understand our faults, and become better for it. And guess what? The Most High will send the right person. But I'll tell you this, it's hard right now, especially having children, because you have to look at not only how it affected the young ladies, look at the men, look at the men women have to choose from now. You have to wonder whether or not you letting in, molester and all types of things are out there. So you don't want to have your children subjected to more dysfunction, and crisis in your decisions. So at least you're not just jumping into something in haste, based on the fact that, of course, no one wants to be alone. But at least you're not making decisions in haste, and you're putting the Most High first. And what the Most High doing with this time, sister, is He allowing you to find yourself and actually get that relationship with Him, that real relationship with Him. And in due time, if it be the Most High will, He'll send you a provider and a good man. But it first start with you understanding where you went wrong at, and the upbringing and all that, breaking that liberal demon of liberalism and feminism and matriarchy, you understand? And now you will be a better woman for a man. But you couldn't do it under that curse. But now the Most High have actually allowed you to actually self-examine, look yourself in the mirror, and begin to make changes. And that's all we can ask for. Right?
Right.
So this is where it begins, sister. All right?
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm so glad I got in.
I'm so glad too, sister. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Lord have mercy. It's up to you. One more now.
All right, last one.
Last one. This is the real last call. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder Rawchaa, Elder Gabar. I called a little while ago. Sorry about the echo. I have a Magic Jack. I'm calling from Luxembourg. That's why it was like that. But anyway, I just wanted to make a comment to any of the ladies, really. I know that when you follow what the Most High say, it works. It's totally changed my household, totally changed my life, and I'm just so grateful. And now I actually get to share. And for the lady who had called in who said that when she was worried about what people think, they will begin to see the difference in you, and then they'll start questioning you about the light that they see in you. Just my opinion.
Thank you, sister. Great call. Blessings.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's hitting them on the
Thank you.
Well, she only took 10 seconds, so I'll take this one. Come on. You're here. Yeah. Gathering Christ Church. Talk to us.
That's all we can ask for.
Hello?
You're blessed by the best. His name is Ahaya. You're on with Elder Rawchaa. Talk to me.
All praises be unto the Most High. I wasn't expecting to get through. I'm actually calling from the New York City area. What I wanted to say is how we can break these curses is by appreciating our elders and the way they approach dealing with a male. For example, my mother, a lot of people look down upon her based on how she dealt with my father for 28 years of, actually 35 years of their marriage before he passed away. So I just think that a lot of times when it comes down to females, the world is telling you shouldn't portray those attributes that are in the scriptures. And I'm so honored to be able to say that I had a mother who did show me how to appropriately handle being a wife. And it was actually a shock to my husband to hear, because it was like, oh my gosh, she's real.
That's a gift. Yeah. That's a gift.
It's not rare to be found, but it's an honor. Even despite all his flaws and all of his addictions and all of his earthbound sins, she still, even down to the day that he died, was right there giving him his medicine.
Look at that.
So it's just humbling. It's humbling to be able to experience that and to be able at 62 years old to still be able to communicate with her to get wisdom and understanding. So I think as women, we need to start really taking heed to the way our elders have treated their significant others and not look at what the youth was saying was incorrect, and to actually look at those quality habits and move forward with it into the next generation. And then also I want to say for men who are dealing with masculine energy, you can look and do your research, but we have a lack of iodine in our body due to all the chemicals, the chemtrails, the nanoparticles. We need to start understanding more the medicinal herbs that the Most High has put here on forth on this earth to assist us, as well as men who might be dealing with more of a passive feminine energy. They need to start incorporating more psyllium into their diet. There's so much information out there, especially even though the time is very quickly coming and very wicked. We need to start really using the internet and the information that is there to benefit us in being able to counteract the chemical dysfunction that is going on inside of our bodies.
Absolutely.
So I just that.
Sister, well spoken. Hey, there's no better way to end the show with what? Clarity and wisdom. From what? Virtuous and virtue. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you. Usually, I'm gonna hang you up. Usually, when these discussions are had, a lot of us, or some of us, go into these particular discussions with some level of trepidation, not wanting to further break the brokenness.
Well, I mean, I've been looking at.
I've
been reading the comments here. And the comments, a lot of people are actually happy with this
topic.
They're
happy with the topic. Because why? Because, like I say, a lot of sisters want to discuss this, but can't amongst the women who are bullying them into silence. And brothers who can articulate and actually, shine a light or can see exactly what's happening are actually attacking sisters. You see them in a ditch asking for help. You know they need help, but then you are attacking them in the midst of this curse, as if you are higher than them, and we're both in this curse together and have been affected.
And I mean, I see people here saying, asking for a part two. Maybe a few weeks later we can revisit the topic again.
But next week we're going to cover that social media are talking about Israelites. That's going to be our topic next week. Or mainstream media finally talking about Israelites. And we're going to shine a real light on why they're actually speaking about Israelites right now.
And just off of the back of that, Elder, everyone here watching, please go like, subscribe.
Yes, right.
Hit the bell. All right, hit that bell.
Hit the bell.
So we can get this. We can get the program out, and we can share with more people if you like the content of what's going on. Also, and
these discussions, Elder, are curse breakers.
Yeah, man, they are. I mean, just reading the comments, like I'm over here looking and reading and the interaction going on, and people, and listening to the calls from the sisters calling in. A lot of, you can hear like it's a weight off of the shoulders.
Yeah,
which
that other people understand. Because a lot of sisters are looking at it like, okay, when are men going to understand certain things concerning what we're dealing with without judging our faults?
Yeah, man.
Without looking down on our faults. Yeah.
So I mean, it's been a good broadcast. Like I said, like and subscribe, hit the bell. Also, hit us up on Instagram at GOCC144. That's at Instagram, G.O.C.C.144, all right?
Exactly.
And you can expect to get little quick snippets of topics that we're going to be going into over the future. We're looking to really bring it up for this coming new year.
Yeah, this new year. We're going to have morning shows, everything. And I tell you what, make sure if you haven't, go to A Gathering 144 and subscribe there too, because soon
we'll be back live.
We'll be allowed to actually do live streams through our main channel there too. But you know what? This helped us bolster the New York channel, so it's a blessing on either side, right? Because some people didn't even know New York exists as far as how great this channel is, and I'm glad we had access to it right after we were reprimanded. But without any further ado, we love you. Stay in the spirit. Pray, brothers and sisters, and sin not. We'll soon see Zion. Shalom.
Blessings.
The original Hebrew language, including grammar and conversational Hebrew. For new and returning students, now is a great time to enroll, as we are happy to announce that we've added never-before-taught lessons on Daniel 9, the prophecy of the final 7 years, the Battle of Armageddon, and the 1,000-year reign. This intensive course has been meticulously customized and enriched with PDF booklets and downloadable videos, automatically emailed to you after every live lesson. Enroll today at historytimes.org or email us at gatheringas1@aol.com. We look forward to seeing you there. The elders of the Gathering of Christ Church would like to invite you to enroll in the new upcoming Hebrew and Bible Academy, which begins December 23rd. The Academy is a 3-month online course which includes 12 live biblical lessons taught by the elders every Sunday.